What's up, everybody? Welcome.
What's happening?
Welcome to Funkatopia Live.
WTF, everybody. WTF. Welcome to 2023.
Yeah, man.
Man.
So good.
Whew.
Ooh, first show of 2023. I can't believe the year has gone by so quick. What happened, man?
People, man.
What's going on, dude?
All I got to say is I am so glad to be back.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that, at least from what I've seen, everybody else made it into 2023. So I'm just, at least everybody I know.
Yeah, we're waiting on, we'll have to wait on some updates from the folks. I'm just hoping everybody's all good. Andre's in the house, of course. What's going on, Andre?
He made it out of jail.
Canadians are alive, so that's good. Susie, what's going on? Cammy's good. Now, see, Cammy's here, so we're good. Yeah,
we can just go.
Yeah, we can go. We're out. Have a good night, folks.
Thank you. Good night. We're done. That's all we needed.
Yeah, make sure that if you put a hello in there, that you let us know where you're calling in from and where you're tuning in from, because we love to see that. Milwaukee's in the house. Greg's in there, and Krista.
Los Angeles.
Yeah, Los Angeles. Yeah, obviously Georgia kind of invaded Los Angeles last night. That game was ridiculous.
Oh my gosh, it was. Oh man, I cannot believe it.
I mean, 65-7.
No matter what your preference is, you still want a good game. But this was such a blowout, and you go, oh, it's a blowout. But even then, it was like it's still fun. It was still fun to watch.
Yeah, it was just like, all right, you just like watching somebody take a beating. Marcia Cordula. That's it. I don't remember seeing that name ever in here. Hello, Henry. What's going on? Ben, what is new? Cammy says 2023 sucks. Already? You can't give up, but we're only 10 days into this thing. Cammy, come on now.
What is going on?
We're 10 days in. Give it a chance. Give it a chance.
Yeah, you guys are gonna have to talk to us offline. We're gonna have to motivate you here, because you can turn 2023 around. There's time. There's plenty of time.
I had to wear my Funk on Site shirt today because we're doing the best funk albums of 2022.
Yes.
I'm just taking a look back, and it was the most appropriate shirt that I have some brand new shirts that I wanted to wear, and but
sweet.
None of them were appropriate for this show. This was the most appropriate one I could find.
Nice. I threw away a lot of shirts, so pretty soon I'll be shirtless in our shows.
Yeah, and that will be a totally different show.
It'll be a totally different show. Pre-show.
Dorothy, pre-show. We can edit it out. Dorothy, Tanya, what's going on? Yes, of course. We've got Minneapolis in the house. Indiana's in the house. Lynette's calling in. Michelle from California. Chiaria from the Twin Cities. Jamie from Pennsylvania. Of course, Andre's in Montreal. Yeah, we know where you are.
We know where you are. We know. That's
Cammy is just in a negative mode, unfortunately, from Indiana.
Oh, Cammy.
Come on now.
Oh.
Kim from Washington State.
We gotta figure out how to cheer her up.
Yes, Lynette says nice shirt. Thank you. I'm assuming you're talking about my shirt. You could be talking about Jeff's shirt. Jeff's shirt's pretty dope too. He's got it's all opening with the showing off the necklace.
Showing off my one chest hair.
That wasn't the button I meant to hit. I meant to hit the. That's what I meant to hit. Yes. So yeah, I have so many of you it's gonna be impossible for me to read everybody in here, because Karen's in the house, and Audrey is in the house, and Lisa's in the house.
Yes.
This is Lynette from Houston's in the house. Yeah, Lisa's also from Canada. Canada's representing today.
I like it.
Charlotte from Houston. Northern Michigan checking in with Sean. Carrie from California. Arlene's in that, man. All you fine folks. Yeah. As far as the shirt is concerned, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the band Tuxedo, but Tuxedo is a pretty popular band. They well, I don't know how to explain it. If you guys may be you guys may be familiar with Mayor Hawthorne, who is, he has his own great career in music, but he got together with, I can't remember the other gentleman's name, but he got together with another guy and they created this band Tuxedo that does funk albums. And they've been
Nice.
on the best funk up list before. But this is actually a shirt from Tuxedo. I actually got a Tuxedo shirt in this one, but they had some big sale and they did a sale on this one for $5.
I liked it. It's funny that you can call it a tuxedo shirt, and
That's right.
it's not, and it is at the same time.
You said to wear a tuxedo.
I've got my tuxedo shirt on.
I got my tuxedo shirt on. What you mean?
What you mean, man?
And somebody's messing up my graphic.
What's up? Oh wow! Hey, girl.
Shaden's kind of coming up behind me and messing up my graphic, being all yeah. There you go.
Nah, that's all
Yeah.
right.
So we were
You're
over.
improving the graphic.
Yes, I guess right. You're improving with the graphic. Whatever. I just try to say my words just not coming out wrong. We just we've been on vacation. I mean, not on vacation. We've just kind of been putting in the time. We were over in California to see this one in the Rose Parade, but we did like a lot of different things. I'm going to show you guys some pictures of that. It's got some really cool stuff.
You think it's time we should do an official thing because it's 8:00 or a little after 8?
Oh yeah, you know what? I guess I need to turn on the radio.
Let's get everybody in.
All right, let's see. Welcome, one and all. Welcome to Funkatopia. This is Funkatopia Live. We are now cutting into your broadcast. If you're listening on the Funkatopia Funked Up app, welcome, one and all, to. That's right. We are here and we are having a great time, and we're about to have a show, the best funk albums of 2022. We're going to be going over this pretty long, arduous list of it's not really a long list. But we want to talk a little bit about some of the albums that came out, show you the album cover, maybe play you a clip or two, and just talk about some random things and whatnot. So I hope you guys are ready. We're going to have a good time tonight. So if you like funk music, you're in the right place, and it's going to be very we're going to have some purple things here and there. So it's fine if you're only here for the Prince stuff. It's all good. But we are Funkatopia, so we have to do that. We do this at least once a year. Been doing the list since 2010, putting it online since 2014. But if you go to funkatopia.com, you can see all of the best funk list. This one that we're doing tonight is not up there yet. I am going to put it up there. And as soon as the broadcast is over, I'm going to hit publish and I'm going to put it out there for all to see, and you guys can check it out. But it will be the list that we go over, and you'll be able to see everything that's on there, including the Spotify lists and all that. So it's going to be a great, great night of funk music.
Cheers.
But then welcome back. Mr. Jeff Page is in the house, my illustrious co-host.
Yeah, back. I got to fur myself because.
Yes, I know. And then, and of course, I am your host, Mr. Christopher, and we're here for the night to talk about the best funk albums of 2022, which is going to be great, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good night. It's going to be a good night.
Chris, I've decided that if I'm going to have a you're going to get a yay.
Is that because of my Mexican heritage? Is that what you're getting at here?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's the shirt. It's the tuxedo shirt.
My tuxedo shirt. Yes. So we are. This is going to be a fun night. Best funk albums of 2022. We got a lot of great music for you. So if you want to have a great, great time listening to some brand new funk music that you probably missed, because I guarantee you, 80 to 90% of the stuff that we're going to tell you tonight, you didn't even know was out. And it came out last year. I mean, these albums came out throughout all of 2022. And not only do I have 20 of them to go over with you, but I also have 5 bonuses as well. But there's a lot of great music that came out, and we're going to make sure that you get an opportunity to see it. But yes, we are going to talk a little bit about, before we do that, we want to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that we did while we were out and about and whatnot. And, we were on vacation. I'll start with mine because you're going to be more interested in hearing what Jeff Page did on New Year's Eve at Paisley Park. We're going to talk a lot about Paisley Park and everything that they're doing. And just, some of the fun stuff that happened there with Morris Day live in concert on New Year's Eve in Prince's house. And I definitely want to see that. And I know that you guys, we're not going to play it for you, but
No, we're
I
not going
think
to play it.
you have a couple of photos to share as well. I mean, we can start with that. You know,
I mean, we can whatever you want to do. We can hold. We can go.
no, it's all good. I mean, I have some. I'll tell you what. I'll share some slides of my California trip. We'll talk about that first. The first thing is that obviously I went to California, to Los Angeles, because Jaden, who is dressed like a toddler here, was in the Rose Parade. And you know, we kind of did a lot of other things as well. I mean, the Rose Parade, I'm going to show you a picture of her actually from the TV broadcast and whatever that's actually on there. Now she's acting all embarrassed for whatever reason. But yeah, the other thing too, I wanted to preface this with a couple of things before we get into the show tonight. Is that we are going to be playing clips of music from the bands. So there is a probability that Facebook might kick us off if it hears something that matches up with a copyright that is being actively guarded or whatever. So please be prepared to go to youtube.com/Funkatopia in order, if Facebook cuts us off or doesn't allow you to participate anymore, please be prepared to go to youtube.com/Funkatopia if Facebook cuts us off. But just keep that on a little tab.
It's a very good possibility.
Yeah. So California was great. I've been to California. Well, that was actually my second time in LA. The first time I actually went a little bit north of there for a conference. But what's really awesome about California is that they've got this awesome place called Amoeba Records. And I really got a bunch of stuff. And nice. This is all, as you can see, there's a lot of, I got a lot of print stuff, and there was some other stuff too that I had gotten previous, but you got Van Hunt's debut CD in there. You've got multiple copies of 3121 and Musicology, a little Peter Gabriel in there just for flavor, just because I love Peter Gabriel. And you got Wendy and Lisa's Fruit at the Bottom in there, you know, just a lot of different things. Now, as you know, I try to send stuff to Patreon supporters all the time. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that I kind of send some of the stuff out. So we've got some really cool things that I'm going to be doing. I've just kind of been gathering lots of gifts and whatnot. And of course, we've got the big drawing that we're going to be doing. I guess it's supposed to be happening towards the end of January for the Love for One Another charity. And we're going to be doing that. There's going to be a bunch of gifts that are going to be in there, but I'm going to be sending a lot of this stuff to the Patreon supporters, along with some of the other stuff that I still had yet to send out, like coloring books and cool stuff to the Patreon supporters. So if you want to become a member, patreon.com/Funkatopia, patreon.com/Funkatopia. And we got some gifts and stuff we're going to be sending out. Lots of purple stuff. But Amoeba Records is amazing. I love Amoeba Records is probably one of my favorite places to go shopping for vinyl now. And of course, it's on the furthest part of the country that it's you can't go over there anymore. I mean, I can't think of any record store in Atlanta that's anywhere near the size of Amoeba. It's just pretty friggin'
wow.
Just amazing.
Wow, I'd have to check it out next time I'm out there.
Yeah, what's the name of the one that we go to in Minneapolis?
Electric Fetus.
Cheapo Records. Yeah, we like Electric Fetus. Electric Fetus is cool, but Cheapo Records, if you you could fit 2 Cheapo Records inside of Amoeba. That's how
man,
it's crazy. So yeah, and it was pretty massive. It's been pretty neat. So anyways, I got a lot of stuff. We're going to be sending some things out, but you know, we also went to the La Brea tar pits, and we saw lots of, you know, these aren't obviously real prehistoric beasts that are fighting inside of this tar pit, but it's really cool. All the stuff that they are digging, all these prehistoric fossils and bones and things. And La Brea tar pits are like these massive tar pits that are all over California. I mean, all over this area in La Brea, which actually means tar. So I guess it's kind of tar pits. But they have, they keep lightly scooping out all this tar that has all these dinosaur bones and all these prehistoric animals inside of this tar pit. And you can go inside, and there's actually these paleontologists that are like sifting through the tar and like recreating the skeletons of these prehistoric beasts that roamed the earth. They got caught in these tar pits, and it's insane. It's really pretty cool. Okay. So we went to La Brea tar pits. I went to this Mandir which is yeah, this Hindu temple, which is just freaking amazing. It is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been to. It's just kind of walking around there. I mean, it's not, it's just one of these wonders of, you know, you kind of go to these places and you're like, the architectural
Yeah,
detail in these places is just friggin' ridiculous. It's just
right.
insane. So I always go up there just because it's really, really cool just to kind of walk around there and just kind of be quiet. Everybody's quiet and you just kind of just chill and just take in the majesty of this thing. It's pretty insane.
Wow.
And then we went to Joshua Tree Park, which is like a 2-hour drive out to Joshua Tree. It's a huge, massive desert. You
Sweet.
do,
Need to play the album now.
yeah, of course. I mean, I love you too.
Yeah.
Uh, early YouTube. I think probably Joshua Tree back is pretty much everything else. But it's new.
Right.
It's okay. But yeah, Joshua Tree is really, really cool. Actually, Joshua Tree from U2 album is actually not in Joshua Tree Park. It's actually quite a bit north of where that is, but that's okay. Joshua Tree is a really, really cool desert. And then, of course, there was the Rose Bowl parade, which Jada was
Ding.
in. This is actually a screen capture from their local TV station in LA called KTLA 5. And it is a screen capture of the Brookwood Broncos marching band from Georgia here. And you can see by
That's
the big
awesome.
white arrow, there she is right there in the color guard, just swinging her flag. And it was pretty awesome. It was actually a very, very cool. You got to talk to that one girl that's like to your right. She's not like everybody else has got their stick straight, and she's not straight. You got to talk to
Her and her crooked sticks.
her. She's got a crooked stick. You got to work through that.
I think it looks like she's trying to make a letter, like she's trying to write a note.
I don't know. But yeah. So I was all of course, the two major stations, ABC and NBC, that covered Rose Parade were not. They cut away. One of them actually carried them, but they cut away on the color guard thing. Another one was going backstage and doing something, and while they were marching, but their local station actually has this. And of course, I've got front row, not front row, but like third row back. I got some really, really good footage of this live as it's happening. It was pretty awesome.
That's very cool. Very cool.
So,
I love it. She's awesome.
all right. So that was my little, journey into LA. Of course, we had a really, really good time. And yo, Jeff, tell me about, because you were in Minneapolis for New Year's Eve at Paisley Park. And tell me about Paisley Park. What's going on? I mean, that must have been pretty awesome to be. I've never been there for New Year's Eve.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was impressive. I mean, I had a great time, and the fact that so many people were excited while they were there. The energy was like it should have been. I tell you, it was all about the enlightenment that they were talking about. And I got a few slides I'll share. We can go through that. But it was all about the enlightenment experience, and they just I don't even have a whole lot of words for that.
So
Other
what
than
exactly is, and I hope I'm not taking you off guard. What is the enlightenment experience?
You know what? I will tell you actually. I wrote down a couple of things because there was something specific. Um, there the first thing they ended up doing, one of the things was about what enlightenment is, and that's how you absorb the journey of being alive. That was part of the talk, was how you absorb the journey of being alive and what enlightenment means to us. That's kind of what the theme of how this experience was going to be from the panel and how they talked. But
Yeah.
what ended up happening is I do a lot of quotes, and I happened to have put a quote out, and because they were asking and looking for quotes, and it is such an amazing thing to walk into Paisley Park, and the first thing you see is your quote. Now I know that looks a little bit small, but what I had said was, oh, you know what, I had to go a little further because I was excited. So yeah,
Yeah,
there it is.
I remember that you showed me. Yeah. Yeah,
So
and I didn't know
literally,
you were from Los Angeles, California.
I didn't either, man, but I'm there now. There's nothing more exciting than walking, and I posted about it. You know, you walk into Paisley Park and you don't expect anything like that. Walked into the soundstage, and the first thing I see is enlightenment is to open one's eyes, mind, and body to what they once could not see nor understand. Jeff Page, and I was just like, "Duh?"
When did I
So
see that? No.
it woke me up. It woke me up, and I stayed excited for a while after that. I was just like cheesing. Um, but we there was a lot going on this night, so I'll kind of go through it fast or fairly quickly. Of course, as everybody knows, DJ Dudley D did his thing. You know, DJ was tearing it up, and our favorite, you know, everybody
Make up
knows,
Paris, baby.
Man, Lenka, she tore it up at the beginning of the night and at the end of the night after Morris Day did his thing with the time.
Well,
So
just so we're
you know,
clear too, if you're wanting to kind of catch some of these visuals, if you're listening on the app, just go to go to facebook.com/Funkatopia or go to youtube.com/Funkatopia, and you can kind of see some of these visuals that we're sharing that we're kind of, but hopefully we're being descriptive enough that you can kind of get what
yeah, kind of guess
yeah.
what might be happening up there.
I mean, I love Lenka. So she's she's one of my favorite DJs, and just to watch her is just amazing. It's
What
just,
what was
ugh.
really awesome about this is this outfit she's wearing. I know I didn't get a full body shot. They didn't get one, but it's a one piece, I think. And she was bouncing the whole night, jumping back, just moving like she does. And so, you know, in like in her form, she was tearing it up. Um, After a little bit of that, then we went into a panel. So the panel was a really good thing. I'll kind of go through who everybody is really quickly. It was hosted by Lisa Jones. She's a culture coach, radio personality, moderated by Kevin Lindsay. Kevin Lindsay is the CEO of Minneapolis Humanities Center, and he's just really on board with everything Paisley Park's trying to do as far as this new enlightenment experience that they're going with. The panelists, of course, um, obviously Sharon Nelson showed up and tore it up. You know how she is once she gets into her stories, she captures everyone's attention. As you can see, everyone's looking. The place was just hush quiet. You drop anything while when Sharon speaks, everybody listens. You know, it's the old Charles Schwab thing. Um, Also on the panel, we had so from on the left side in the red, I already mentioned Lissa in the first, but Angelique Dubois. She is meditation. She studies and teaches Yin yoga, and she also has I think it was a Flying High producer, is a song, a record. Um, but she was there and talked about everything, and of course Monique Linder, who is with OMG Studios. She is, I would say, she's Sharon's right hand. Like they just together, they're really going to. Their goal is to bring things forward and really move things. And she's the founder of OMG Studios and the media and producer. So they did their thing at the panel, and of course, like I said, Sharon, once she got going, that was it. She just lights everybody up. Um, a lot. It was kind of cool because they had a theme song, which I don't have, but they played officially, not on stage, but kind of behind the scenes thing. The official Enlightenment New Year's 2023 song was one song by Prince, and this was an unreleased studio version of one song.
Did
Um,
did they keep all
yeah,
the all the talk and everything? And
all the talk,
oh my, because
the whole
that's like
thing.
2.5
Yeah,
minutes of talking.
it was, yeah, but the thing was is the feeling, 'cause, basically it was all the VIP and everybody coming together, and the feeling that was going on when that song was playing and hearing what he's really saying was just, it was pretty powerful. And, you know, people got to speak on that, and I thought that was really, you know, really exciting and just fun. And, of course, VIP, we got to do a meet and greet at Morris Day. I get to hang out.
There you go. Look at you,
Yeah,
Morris.
yeah,
Hey, there
and,
you go.
so, you know, hanging out with Morris and getting a photo in with him is a pretty cool deal, and, he was just a joy, and he was awarded, I can't remember the name, the humanitarian award or something. He had something earlier this year, and he was honored again at Paisley Park, and it was really cool for him because, you know, he even said, he said, "You know, I it started here, and just to be back," and he got choked up, and everybody was just kinda like, "Wow, go ahead, Morris," you know? And then, of course, it was time for the time. So they went on and started doing their thing. Now, I'm gonna say this because we had a whole thing when they came last year about the show and what they did and how it was a great show listening to the time, but there was something off, and we were concerned. I was concerned about, like, maybe he was injured or, you know, something was going on, you know, because Morris Day is a somebody, you know, and he was in form on New Year's Eve. He was really tearing up. That's him going in and doing his thing. Morris Day was really lit this time. So the whole show, the energy, I just have to say, regardless of what anybody might have thought the time was going into, they knocked that out the park. They put on a really good show. The energy was high. The audience was jamming. People were having a great time, and I loved every moment of it. It was pretty much the same set that they did when they came here before, but
Mhm.
the energy was so much higher, and we got our chili sauce.
Yeah,
So,
when it came here, now I think it was the crowd's fault because they didn't kind of keep
yes.
them going. But there was I
Yes.
can't. It was either Jungle Love or the Bird that they did not play. I can't remember which one it was that they didn't play. And everyone was like, "Well, why didn't you play that?"
Right,
But,
right. Well, they went through their whole set. They went
okay, well
through,
that's good.
all their slow songs, and they did Jungle Love, I think, but they had people from the audience come up on stage. So now you got the stage dancing and people moving, and the whole stage did Chili Sauce together. Like, everybody slid across the stage. So it was pretty lit,
Yeah,
and so that's what the show was like, and, the audience was in, and, of course, it's not a party without Jelly Bean,
it's
and he was
JB.
on stage. I always like to feature him, man. That's he's just a joy to watch, and that's the same face. He's always got that expression. And there's the audience, people. I don't remember exactly what was happening here, but I think this was when they were doing the slow song set. Because if you noticed, all the women are forward, all the
Yeah,
girls came forward. So I think that was when they were doing their thing at that point. But it was great. Um, we went, of course, while that was happening, and afterwards, of course, I had to get my own shots in. I had to have by my Bentley, and there is nothing better than ending the night after a good New Year's party and everybody having a blast with the one thing that we all know about, that is pancakes. You bring food to
are
me,
you
and you're
eating
gonna get a
pancakes with
big
your hands
smile
right
because
now?
we
Are
had
you
our
eating
pancakes.
pancakes with your hands?
No, that's so funny. It looks like I'm eating with my hands, but no, I had a fork. I had a fork.
It
I
does
might
look
as
like
well have
you're eating
been.
pancakes with your hands.
It looks
It
like it.
does look like that.
It was killing me when I saw it. I'm like, "Man, oh well, oh well." But, also, later on, I will say I did make a stop somewhere. I don't know. Oh, it's not a good shot. I didn't mean to do it that way. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna make this so everybody can see what I got here. I'm gonna do it as unprofessional as you can. There's this little place called My Burger, and
Right?
I don't know. I'm sure
Always mouth
everybody
open.
there knows about it. It's a local shop. It's like so many places, so many meals or whatever, or so many of them. But I went to My Burger, and I thought the fries. If you ever get a chance to go to My Burger, get the fries. They had these Cajun fries, man, and I know I'm shouting them out. And I'm note,
Yeah,
I am
we
not getting paid.
I don't remember getting any sponsorship money from my
I'm
burger.
not getting
So,
paid to say
I don't
anything,
remember this at
but
all.
I'm sorry, man. I liked My Burger. It was worth it. I went there.
Yeah,
So,
when we was in awesome, man. I'm glad you had a great time. I mean, because
yeah.
we were mentioning fries when we were in California, everybody kept telling me, you got to try In-N-Out Burger. You got to try In-N-Out Burger. Try In-N-Out Burger. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, we'll try In-N-Out Burger. It was a good burger, but it wasn't like it was anything magical. But I will tell you that In-N-Out Burger's fries are ridiculous because you can have them make them any way that you want. They don't just give you fries. You can
Yeah.
say, they had a special word for it. It's like, do you like soft fries or crispy
Oh,
fries? I was like,
man.
I like soft fries. It's just kind of like me. I like we'll dig around for like soft fries because I don't know why. I just don't like crispy fries. If I want crispy fries, I'll have a potato chip. But
Mm.
uh
Well, they
they
have a pill
they
for
tell
that.
you how you can make your own fries. You want them soft, don't make it soft. It's
I
not.
like them crispy, man. I like them. I like crunch fries. I like them really.
Well, see, we need to go to one of these places together and we can just share a thing of fries and I'll eat the soft ones.
And this
Just
sharing
one.
thing of fries, I don't know. As long as they don't give us one fork, because I'm just saying that's gonna be weird.
Uh,
And then most of you guys know the adventure of trying to get out of Minneapolis is where
oh
things
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that was the struggle for me. I mean, thanks to everybody online, I was able to make light of it and have a good time. But I got stranded because they shut the airport down, and the
Yeah.
snowstorm kicked in. It was so bad, and
I
I
didn't realize
drove
you were
in it
still
just to
there.
get there. What's that?
I didn't realize you were still there. I thought you were
Yeah,
gonna kinda go for New Year's Eve and then, maybe leave like late the next day or something. I didn't know you were gonna stay for like a few days. And then when you told me
yeah,
I'm stranded in Minneapolis because of a blizzard or whatever, and I was like,
yeah.
You're still in Minneapolis?"
Yeah, no, I had an extra day I was gonna be there, but then the unexpected happened, and yeah, so I ended up doing an overnight at the airport, and that was kinda rough and got multiple canceled flights, but at the end, I finally made it, but I had to go to Cleveland, had to do a connecting flight. I didn't get home till, like, Wednesday at 10 PM or something like that. So I was needless to say tired, but I
Yeah.
had a blast, and,
Uh,
it was great being back in that building.
well, ladies and gentlemen, all I can tell you is we're back. Here we are. It's 2023, first show of 2023. We're looking forward to all this stuff. I did actually have another bullet that I was going to talk about because I've been seeing some, but I'm going to save it until after this, just because there's a couple things we'll talk about afterwards.
Mm,
After the best funk albums of 2022, because we're already a half hour into the show. We haven't even started that part of it yet. But um, I've been seeing a lot of stuff pop up online from unauthorized or illegitimate sources, guess bootleg sources of whatever you want to call it, or
mm.
whatever, of some pretty serious box sets that they're putting together and coming out with. And I kind of wanted to just kind of share some pictures of some things that I've seen that people are planning on putting out. I'm not going to tell you where you can get them or how you can get them, because it's very, very difficult to get these things and even find them. But one of the things and the reason why I want to do this, because I obviously want to be really, really careful, being that just trying to be real careful with the way that we kind of present this, because
Mm,
one of the things, the purpose of showing some of this stuff as far as that is concerned is to kind of, hopefully give the estate some really good ideas of, being able to see what the pulse is of the consumers that are out there and some of the things that they want. Because I really feel like that the estate really kind of stomped their feet, and really, because they have access to so much stuff, they could
mm.
recreate and do all these things way better and in way better.
Absolutely,
I mean, they could knock this stuff out of the park really, really quickly if they really kind of go gung ho.
and I think at some point they will too. I
Oh, I
really
know
do.
it. I know they will. And
Yeah,
because we know some of the things that they're planning and some of the fantastic things that the estate actually is planning to do once they kind of work through some of the loopholes and things that
yeah,
they've got
just
to deal with.
whatever it is.
But
Mhm.
once that happens, yeah, I think they're going to be able to just kill it. And
Yeah,
so anyways, I'm gonna share some of the things that I saw out there, and hopefully it gives the estate some ideas of some things that they might be able to implement themselves, and just kind of create an alternate current, which I
hey,
think
why
would be
not?
pretty friggin' awesome.
Why not?
But ladies and gentlemen, it is that time. We are going to be talking about the best funk albums of 2022. And it is a pretty amazing thing. And I was going to share I'm going to share this one graphic, and it's going to give you a quick view of some of the albums we're going to be talking about tonight. And I'm going to give you a quick view. So if you want to get ready with your screen capture or whatever, you can. You can do it in 3, 2, 1, and there it is. That is a screen capture of what we're going to be talking about tonight. And it is the 2020. These are albums that were released in 2022
Right.
that are the best funk albums that we kind of feel are, really kind of brought the funk. And what was difficult with going over all of the releases that were out there, and obviously there's so many small ones, so many independent artists, when a lot of them kind of come to me directly, and they'll just send me something and say, look, I'm not on Spotify, or I'm not on this, that, or the other, but here's my album. Can you consider it? And absolutely we will. I
Right.
do this every single year, and I have this is the 13th year that I've done this now, where I go through and I pick the best of.
Yeah,
And
we listen to everything. We really do.
yeah, so even if I don't reply to your email, if you say, here is my album, my band just released an album and it's funk and I think you'd like it, please consider it. We will. You don't have to be signed. You don't have to be on a major label. You don't have to have any kind of major distribution. Just make sure that you send me the album with MP3s and that people can actually purchase it, because that's the whole point of this, is me promoting it if it gets on the list and people will
Mhm.
have an opportunity to be able to go and get it. And what was very, very difficult with this year was there really wasn't a whole bunch of, just flat out funk. There
Right.
was just because there's a growing category called new funk. And new funk is really kind of got a hold a couple of years ago, but now it's starting to, get its own playlist on Spotify, and it really kind of takes the core of funk music and it kind of removes the border. So you can kind of have, jazz merged into it, hip hop
Hmm.
merged into it, techno. It's just, it creates a whole different type of formula. And so while I did take into consideration a lot of the faces of new funk, I really wanted to do my best to stay true to the funk as established by James Brown, as established by Parliament and Funkadelic, Rick
Hmm.
James, Cameo, all those guys.
Right.
There's some. What was interesting is that there was a couple of releases that I saw this year that when they came out, I immediately added them into my preliminary list, and then after listening to the albums, was like,
What happened? Right.
that didn't happen. Orgone is a perfect example of this. Orgone released an album in 2022 called Lost Night. And normally, if Orgone releases an album, they're a band that's based out of California,
Hmm.
and they've been around for a really long time. But every time they release an album, it's funk. I mean, it's funk. It's flat out funk.
Mm.
But something with this album was very, very different. It was kind of funk, but it was more kind of like Maggot Brain was to Funkadelic.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
it was more rock and kind of this psychedelic type of thing. So it wasn't really funk. And they did a lot of that. And normally part of the recipe for Orgone is they always have a female lead singer like Nikki Crawford or somebody that they really, really lend themselves to the Brit funk type of approach, like, brand new heavies and things like that.
Mhm.
But they didn't do that this time. They took all that out of the mix. They brought in a male singer to sing for a few songs, and then they just kind of went all over the board. So surprisingly, if you are an Orgone fan, they're not on the list this year, just because there was other bands that really kind of stayed true to the funk category. So I really wanted to really make sure of that. Now,
Yeah.
I'm
And you
gonna
may
let
want to.
you, I'm gonna let you speak on this next one that was also admitted, who released 2 albums in 2022, and that is Red Hot Chili Peppers. Red Hot Chili Peppers did two albums in 2022, which was Return of the Dream Canteen and Unlimited Love. And you would think without a shadow of a doubt, hey, Red Hot Chili Peppers, they're going to be on the funk list. But I think you kind of came to the same conclusion that I did after kind of listening to it in its entirety, and not just listening to it one time through, but kind of going through and go, am I missing something? What was your takeaway with both the Red Hot Chili Peppers albums?
Yeah, it's weird because I like Red Hot Chili Peppers,
Oh yeah, of course.
and yeah, I mean, who can't? You have to really if you listen to music like that, and and it just lost. Like there was the first song, like I think right off the bat of the album, it was like okay, boom, and then all of a sudden it went very very rock, but not even like it just. See, I was at a loss of words. I don't remember how I worded it, but it really just went rock. It just kind of left the whole funk scenario behind to me. It's
Yeah, I kind of felt like, like Scar Tissue was for them. It was kind of like they kind of took that recipe and just, I mean, there was some funky
there
track
were a couple of
in
them,
there,
yeah, yeah.
but for the majority of it, it was not there. So for those of you who are going to be like sacrilege, neither Red Hot Chili Peppers album is on this list.
Yeah, and that
Um,
being said, we want to say this. I think we should.
they're
Just
good albums.
because they didn't make the list does not mean they're not good albums, and we didn't enjoy the albums.
Oh my God. I discovered some amazing artists that did not fall. Okay. Have you ever heard of Fantastic Negrito?
No, I have not.
Oh my God. I don't know. I guess I'm totally missed Fantastic Negrito, but they were on the list and to review, but it really wasn't funk. It was more like an alternative rock type of thing with
Hmm.
um I can't even they're impossible to categorize, but they are so unbelievable. I mean, like there will be a review done on Fantastic Negrito's album because it is so good. If you get an opportunity to go to Spotify, check out Fantastic Negrito. It's I don't really know anything much about him, but it's just the delivery, the songwriting, the changes, the
Hmm.
song structures, everything was just so solid. Lyricism, everything was flat out. And yeah, it is. Yeah. it's pretty amazing. Definitely get a chance to check out Fantastic Negrito. Definitely do it. He's not on the best funk albums of 2022, but check it out. I've actually got a couple of clips from a couple of other bands I wanted to talk to you about too. Later on, Antonio Eyes, I want to play this. Van Hunt sent this to me, and Van was like, check this out. I was like,
oh, cool.
Oh my God. This guy's great. Doesn't have an album, but he releases a bunch of singles. But this guy named Antonio Eyes, really, really good. And another one, I can't remember the other name of the band, but we'll get to that later. But let's go into the list. Okay. So before we go into this list, one of the things that is very, very important to remember about this is that these albums that we're going to be talking about are not in any type of chronological order. They are not, right. This is the number 20 down to number 1. This is the best. I just didn't want to do that. I've never done that. It's just, these are 20 albums that are absolutely fantastic.
Right. You will enjoy for sure.
Yeah, these are just albums that are just going to, really just rock your world. So one of the things you'll know about this, as I said, is that I only picked 20. There's going to be some bonuses in the mix. But if you don't hear something that you want, it may have not been released in 2022, or I may not have even heard of it. So there's going to be some things that I've missed. So when we do the blog post, when I publish the blog post tonight, you will actually see a lot of comments, which is typical for every year that we do this. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of comments from people that say, oh, you also need to check out, because there's a bunch of stuff going on the other side of the pond in France and everything else, that there's like, oh, you got to check out these guys. And I wish that these people would communicate with me throughout the year, but they don't. They always kind of come in after the fact and they put it in the comments. So this is what it is. So let's start out with number 1, which, well, I'm not going to say that because it's not number 1.
No,
it's the selection. And the first album that is on the best funk albums of 2022 is the one and only Trombone Shorty's album, Lifted.
Yes. I want to prefer it.
Yeah, I do too.
It's so good.
Troy Andrews, aka Trombone Shorty, shared the stage, with Bo Diddley when he was like 4 years old. I mean, that pretty much set his career path from the very, very beginning. But he has been selling out arenas left and right. I mean, and he's always been really, really true to his New Orleans roots. I mean, everything about New Orleans soul music flow, everything is just it just kind of just flows through him, and he does not disappoint. He's got some special guests all throughout this album, including Gary Clark Jr. is on this album on the song called I'm Standing Here. Lauren Daigle is on here on the song What It Takes. And he's even got the New Breed Brass Band on here with Everybody in the World. And the album is called Lifted. It's a great, great album. If you don't count the 2019 collab that he did with James Andrews, this is actually his first studio album in 5 years, but it is straight out New Orleans funk for sure. And this is a little clip that I will play for you here. It's a clip from the song called I'm Standing Here, and this is Trombone Shorty off of his Lifted album. Check this out. Bullets are sweating me, shaking like a leaf from my head to my feet. But I'm standing here, and I'm ready, have no fear. Are you with me? Time is near. Trombone Shorty. As long as I'm here. Take a tiller, soldier, a spy. Weight on my shoulders. Feeling the grind, do what I want with the time that I got. Whether we go down in water, fighting, I can't fall asleep without. Yeah, that's a little Trombone Shorty.
Man, it's good stuff.
That's from his album Lifted. Yeah, so all these tracks, all these songs are about 40. These clips are about 45 seconds long, but I wanted to kind of get you in the mood or whatever. Also, again, I said this earlier. We may possibly be kicked off of Facebook. So get ready with youtube.com/Funkatopia if we do get kicked off of Facebook, because they are really big on the whole copyright scenario. So just if we do get kicked off of Facebook, just go ahead and shift over to YouTube. But yeah, that's Trombone Shorty's Lifted. And actually, I think I have Jeff Page, if you could do me a big favor, if as we kind of do these, if there's any way that you can kind of copy those Amazon links for folks, so that just copy that first line in the Amazon
let's do
link,
it.
and so that if anybody wants to pick it up or check it out, you can do that. And again, afterwards, I will be posting all the albums that I talk about, and we're going to then and then you're going to be able to read everything that I pretty much said, along with the Spotify playlist from that album and the Amazon link. Everything's going to be there. You can also go to the artist website, and all that stuff is going to be on the blog post on funkatopia.com. So just keep an eye on that after the show. All right. That was the first one. We did it. Trombone Shorty's Lifted, which is really, really fantastic album. So let's talk about the second one then.
The next one.
The next one. Operation Funk from Corey Henry. So many are not familiar with Corey Henry, but you may be familiar with Snarky Puppy, and he used to play with that funk jazz troupe, and then he left that group in 2018 to kind of start his solo career. And so far, just since 2018, he's kind of been doing a princely type of release. He's released 5 albums during that time, and along with a couple of live albums as well. That he did the Art of Love, and then he did a live version of Art of Love, and then he had Operation Funk, which is this album, and he did a live version of Operation Funk. And Corey hasn't been on these lists before, the best funk list, because there's always been something that kind of kept him out of that mix. But not that it's mattered. I mean, he was Grammy nominated in most of the R&B categories for his previous albums, so he's kind of always been R&B leaning. Now, even though this album is called Operation Funk, if you listen to the first couple of songs in this album are not really funk, so it doesn't really. It didn't really do itself any service, being that it's called Operation Funk. But then all of a sudden he gets to the third track with What I Want, and that kicks in, and then it rolls from there. And the next thing you know, What I Want's kind of like an upbeat R&B flavor. It's not really funk, but then from track 4 on, it's a funk train rolling. It's a freight train, and it just kind of keeps on going. But it's funk. It's got a really good light jazz flavor that kind of works in the background, because he's very, very technical. If you know Snarky Puppy, they're very, very intricate, very seasoned musicians. And so you can kind of get that that's kind of his upbringing as far as being a musician is concerned, just that intricacy and that the way that he structures songs. And but yeah, this is definitely one to check out. It's Corey Henry's Operation Funk. And this is a track from that song. We're going to play 45 seconds of it. It's a song called The Line. And here it is, Corey Henry.
Know the reason why you crossed the line. You got it for the last time you crossed the line. You got it for the last time you crossed the line. I've been working night and day, trying to prove my love for you.
It's good stuff.
Every time
definitely.
you throw me away, so tell me what more can I do? Gave you everything that you wanted.
Again, this song is called The Line.
It never seems like enough. Now I gotta go and do my own thing. It's time to let it go. I just can't think.
Yeah, so that is Operation Funk, the name of the album of Corey Henry. That's a little 45-second clip from The Line. And that's a little clip from there. Yeah, this is actually one of those, it's a really, really good album. I wish that they would have come right out of the gate swinging with the funk, to really kind of match up with the title of the album. But man, it's pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, you would think so, because if somebody doesn't listen far enough in, they're gonna miss it. If they only went the first couple, they're gonna go, but once you got there, it was like, oh, okay, I'm finally here.
Yeah, especially with labels. Labels, if you like give them an album and you say, hey, listen to this, sometimes they won't even get past the first 20 seconds of the first track, and you lost them. So
And you lost them.
But trust me, it's worth your time. Operation Funk by Corey Henry. Check that one out. All right, the next one on the list, Enema Squad and their album Diarrhea Deluxe. I don't know if this was a scenario where he didn't know how to spell diarrhea, or because the whole and the reason why I say this is because everything with Enema Squad is all tongue-in-cheek poo-poo jokes type of things. It's just it's a whole thing. It just is what it is. Enema Squad is one of those bands that is fully soaked in that Parliament Funkadelic culture of just being kind of raw and dirty. And he's got this new EP called Diarrhona Deluxe. It's Diarrhona Deluxe, and he is just all in on the whole dookie stick long lingo. I mean, just it is.
Enema is soaked. That's
That's
it right there.
Yeah. Well, and what's funny is that this is an EP, and it just kind of was over the line enough for time wise to kind of be on this list, but it is it's a precursor to an album that's coming from them called The Greatest Shits.
Right.
Yeah. So again, he's all in. There's even a song on this EP called Doo Doo Enhancers. So again, you have to know, George Clinton's whole big thing is, listen to this and then I'll pee on it. He's
right.
There's always something, just sophomoric or just silly. And these guys are all in. Enema Squad, and the album, this one, Diarrhona Deluxe, features Parliament Funkadelic alumni Mike Kid Funkadelic Hampton, Rodney Skeet Curtis, Danny Bedrosian, which we had on the show before, Garrett Scheider, good friend of ours who's been on the show multiple times, aka Starchild Jr., and Law, who's also been on the show as well.
Awesome.
But it's just raw, off-kilter Parliament sound, and again, it's just got that shtick all through it. But he's got some other songs on there as well, other singles around this as well. The one called Take Another Pill and Chillin' in Your Mama's Room. But so it is what it is. But let's play a little 45-second clip from Diarrhona Deluxe from Enema Squad. And this song is called Nothing for Free. And let's check this one out. That got that Bernie Worrell pop.
Really does.
This funk is coming to you. The talk is shit, a hell of a lot, and that ain't hot. Now we got to screw ya. You had a chance to dance, but you blew it.
It doesn't matter. Poop will always be funny. It just will.
That's Enema Squad from Diarrhona Deluxe EP. And they've got, if you like a full album scenario, 20 minutes is like a minimum length. Even if it's an EP, I'll consider it for this list, but you got to have at least 20 minutes worth of music on there. And I think this was kind of over it. And then they have a bunch of scattered singles that, didn't end up on this EP, but again, this is going to be part of an album coming out called The Greatest Shits. And so we did that, just made this show PG right out of the gate. And
yeah, right.
So yeah, definitely check that out. This is Enema Squad's Diarrhona Deluxe.
And once again, just to let everybody know that as we go forward, as we're playing this music, Facebook does sometimes get a little emotional about copyright. So
yes,
just make sure you head over to YouTube, Funkatopia, youtube.com/Funkatopia, and enjoy the show there, because we're also casting there. So
yeah,
just reminding you.
You can also listen on the app. The app will never cut you off. If you have the Funked Up app, you can go to the Funked Up app and you can listen there as well. And just so you know, a little note about the Funked Up app. Well, we'll talk about this later. Anyways, you can listen to the Funked Up app on the Purple Yoda radio side of things, or what's called Uptown Radio now. That's what we have to talk about. We'll talk about that later. Anyways, yeah, Enemy Squad, Diarrhona Deluxe, which brings us to the next album on the Best Funk Albums of 2022 is Lettuce's album, Unified. Now, Lettuce has been around forever. I mean, they're almost at 30 years they've been together, which is crazy to me.
Wow.
That's just insane.
That is amazing.
I mean, pretty much if Lettuce releases an album, it's going to end up on this list because they have stayed true to funk from the beginning. And, Lettuce has been creating funk jams for, well over 20 years. Again, I think it's been almost 30 years, and they just kind of keep it. Unify, this particular album kind of has a more loose hypnotic funk jam, which is more what they do. They've kind of just have jam sessions, these funk jam sessions, and they just kind of just roast it. And it's pretty amazing. The core of the band has stayed the same since the 90s, which, Adam Deitch, Adam Smirnoff, Eric Coombs, Ryan Zoidis, who's been on the show before. And then of course you've also got Eric Bloom and Nigel Hall, who's been on the show before. So there's a lot of folks that have been on the show before, but there's what's interesting. And this is a clip I'm going to play from this, is that Bootsy Collins dropped in for a guest spot on this album, and he did a song called Keep That Funk Alive. Now, let me be really, I have to be clear about this. This song was written, or actually constructed, for Funkatopia. Let me be really, really clear. Well, and I have the proof of this. I want to say, I don't know how long it's been. I was doing a charity auction for Bootsy Collins, and I raised like a really good amount of money for Bootsy Collins charity. And what he did he basically was really appreciative. He was just like, "Oh man, thank you so much." Da 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 da. And then he sent this video to me, and I want you to check out this video. Okay, this is a video from Bootsy Collins directly to me and Funkatopians for all of your support for Bootsy Collins charity. And this is the video that he created for us. And I wanted to kind of show this to you just before we play the clip. And the video's loading. That's the reason why I'm kind of, doing whatever. Here it is.
Hello to all our Funkatopians out there. It's all on the one, baby. Yeah. Keep that funk alive. Keep that Funkatopia. Keep that funk alive. See what the? Keep that funk alive. On the one, baby.
So that is...
He gets it.
No. So anyway, I forgot we were on the wrong thing. So anyways, that is the clip that he created for Funkatopia. That was what he created. And when I saw this new album from Lettuce, I'm going to remove this. When I saw this new album from Lettuce come on the mix, and I was going over the songs, and I see Bootsy Collins is on this song on this Lettuce album called Keep That Funk Alive.
Right.
And I'm like, I just wonder.
Right.
Could it be the exact same one? I mean, could it really be the exact same thing that he just did? And of course, when I played the clip, it was. So he took this clip that he had created for us, where he just kind of came up off the cuff. And it even says in the description for it that Lettuce saw a clip of him doing this scat on Instagram, which was the Instagram post that he did for us. And so here it is. Keep That Funk Alive from Lettuce. We are wrapped into this album right here. Here it is, Lettuce's track.
We were nothing but seeds that fell to earth, penetrating the planet, then we gave us birth. A lot of strange creatures inherited the land, but our only one image became man. God, what you doing, and follow me. I will take you to the darkest deep blue sea. If he hollers, let him be. Oh, hey, little mama, it's just you and me.
Oh my God. Come on now.
Gotta love it.
Yeah, I gotta love it. But see, and that's the thing, is that we're not going to get any credit for it. And he came up with it. It's his song. He did it. But that was the first time that anybody ever heard that. At least I have video proof that he created it for us.
Funkatopia was the muse. That's all that matters.
But there is so many great tracks on this album from Lettuce, from Unify. But yeah, it's another great album. on this list. All right, let's go to the next album. We wasted so much time with this one. All right, the next album on the best funk albums of 2022 is a band that I've never heard of. It's actually a solo artist called Soul. It's actually Saul, maybe Soul, maybe this is, but it's Soul. It's Soul, and the album is called Twato. And the only reason why I know how to pronounce Twato is because the fact that he actually said it in something. I can't remember. It was one of the songs. There's a song called Twato on here. And anyways, this is the first time appearance for this guy. He's a self-taught Romanian-born multi-instrumentalist, singer, songwriter, producer. And Twato is definitely one. If that is any sign of things to come from this guy, you got to keep an eye on him. He's based in London now. His first album dropped in 2019, and our good friend with Truth and Rhythm, Good Times. He has on his best funk album list. He was actually on that list. I missed it. I did not catch it on that one. But now he gets to add Funkatopia's best funk albums to his list. And, he says that he is inspired by Stevie Wonder and Prince, but if you listen to the music and the way that he kind of puts things together, he's another one of these guys that just writes everything. He's very, very Prince-like in that way, because he just does everything. But if you listen to it, it's more of a Lenny Kravitz type of influences. And maybe, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Toro y Moi, but which more of kind of a techno kind of, it's very, very interesting. And I really, really liked it. It was really, really good track. But here is a clip of this. The song is called Fat Foot, and this is from Soul. Here it is.
Fat foot on it.
Guys killing it. Yeah, so that is Sal, and that's a cut called Fat Foot from the album Twato, and it's a great album. I've never heard of this guy.
Wow.
And a lot of these artists that you find, we kind of go down these Spotify rabbit holes, and it's just like, who is this? And next thing you know, you're like, wow, this has got a whole album of this stuff, and it's really, really good. But again, that's Sal Twato. And if you're on Facebook.com/Funkatopia or YouTube.com/Funkatopia, we are sharing the URLs for each one of these artists. So if you want to check them out, you can kind of click on the links and you can purchase the album or listen to it more, or, go down the Spotify rabbit hole if you find something that really just grabs your attention. And of course, as I said, when we're done, the blog post will be officially posted on Funkatopia.com. So you'll be able to see all this stuff, and it's going to have their full albums on the Spotify embeds and all that stuff. So check it out. All right. So let's go to this next one. And this next one is very, very important because, and here's why. The name of the band is The Bump Squad, and the name of the album is He Who Dares Flares. And let me just go ahead and say right out of the gate that Peter Argard is he's just one of these guys that just kind of puts out music like all the time. And him and a guy named Tomas, this is their project. If I had to pick one album out of all these 20 to say this is the winner for the funk album of the year, and my hand had to be twisted behind my back, this would probably be it.
Wow. Okay.
Just so we're clear, which is kind of saying a lot. But they have this recipe and they kind of stick to it. It's a very, very Bernie Worrell style of funk, complete with that, the aqua boogie type of vocals, I can't swim, all that stuff. But it's the brainchild of Peter Argard and Thomas. I can't pronounce his last name. It's Smagel. ESJO Smegezjo. I can't remember, but they're just hardcore funk fanatics. Is all I get. It's just Peter and Thomas, and they just breathe all things Parliament and all things Prince, and they put it into a blender, and it just kind of comes out here. But they stick to the funk formula from the very, very beginning all the way to the friggin' end. It doesn't let up. And that, it's one of those albums that does not have any of those, oh, well, there's that song that's not kind of, it's all funk front to back. It stays true to its intent from beginning to end. And again, if I had to say it, it's probably it's the funk album of the year. If we have to pick it, if I have to pick one, this would be my vote to say, yeah, this is going to be it. There may be one other that's really, really close, but let me just play a clip. This is a song from Bump Squad called Chocolactic Acid. Here it is, the Bump Squad. Check this out.
It's a celebration to the final destination. Cause every rumor has it that chocolate acid is filled with a flotation by the funky combination.
Man.
I mean, just give me a break.
Man, that's
It's like, and you don't expect it from, you definitely expect it from, if you just look at the cover, you're just like, this, we'll see what happens. But
right.
the whole album is like this, where it's just that over the top Parliament type of switches and a bop, 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 and all. It's just everything is there.
Yeah, it's what it should be. That is funk right there.
Yeah, so the Bump Squad's He Who Dares Flares. This is probably my pick out of the top 20. There's a bunch of great albums on this list, but this one is friggin' just ridiculous. It's just great. So definitely check this one out. Faux show. And all right, let's go to the next album. The next album is Grey Boy All Stars, and it is an album called Get a Job. It's actually music from the original broadcast series Soul Dream. And essentially what they did is they did this live stream series where they would just kind of do these various jams, kind of similar to what, Paul Peterson does with, his Funky Fridays and stuff, but they would just do these, live stream series where they just jam out, and they do a bunch of covers of lesser known songs from like Gil Scott-Heron, Gene Ammons, the Beatles, Gary Bartz, even Burt Bacharach, for God's sakes. I mean, they just do these covers that are just ridiculous, and they kind of put this funk tinge to them. But you've got Carl Denson, who's been on the show before, Elgin Park, Aaron Redfield, Chris Stillwell, Robert Walter from Robert Walter's 20th Congress, plus of course he's with Grey Boy All Stars. He's been on the show, so it's just these collection of really amazing musicians, and they have this project called Grey Boy All Stars. There's this group of artists, and Robert's in that mix, and Carl Denson's in that mix, and the guys from the new Master Sounds are in that mix. There's like these bands that are from various areas around the country that kind of interweave themselves into each other's bands.
Right.
We talked about Nigel Hall before with Lettuce, and he'll be in a project and he'll just kind of come in. And when they have these jam sessions, like the Bear Creek jam sessions, you can go to one of those shows and you never know who's going to be on the stage. It will be, maybe this drummer is filling in for this person. It's nuts. And, anyways, this is a great album, Grey Boy All Stars. And I may be dating myself, but does anybody remember the X-rated cartoon from the 70s called Fritz the Cat? I don't know if you, it was a cartoon. It was actually an animated movie called Fritz the Cat, and and it was just a cult classic. I mean, you could just look it up. It's out there. I'm sure Andre has seen it, but
he probably still watches it.
He probably still watches it. But yeah, Fritz the Cat is really awesome because it's this really, it's about this cat that kind of goes around and all he does is smokes weed and has sex with anything and everything, and it's hilarious. But at the same time, it's got this soundtrack in the back that is just this, it's just crazy. And that's kind of the vibe that I get from Grey Boy All Stars, is that kind of Fritz the Cat type of vibe. And I will let you decide for yourself. Here it is, Grey Boy All Stars. And I'm going to play this track that is called Smokin' at Tiffany's. Here's Grey Boy All Stars. Kind of got a little bit of James Brown shuffle in there. Maceo. Hot tub. Yeah. Yes, that's Grey Boy All Stars from their album Get a Job. And again, that song is called Smokin' at Tiffany's, but it's the whole album is kind of like that. It's got that funk shuffle where it's like that 60s funk that's just, it's really, really great. So, you know, we're trying to also do a good proper representation of the just being a good, oh, look at this. Peter's in the house. What's going on? Yes, Bump Squad's in the house.
Yes. All right.
They are. So you heard it. And so now you'll be able to post it.
That's right.
We'll put it up there, Peter, so you can make sure that you anyways. Yeah, so that's Grey Boy All Stars. Get a Job, and definitely check that out. All right, let's go to the next album. And this is one we all know and love, and that is Michael Gabriel's Genesis.
Yes.
So we actually did his album release party right here on Funkatopia. And I think, you know, we were kind of doing it just because we like Michael and we like his dad and we like Sheila.
Mm-hmm.
And we just said, yeah, we'll do it. I mean, we'll do it because it'd be awesome. Little did Jeff Page and I know that this album would kick major butt.
Right.
I had no idea that the album was going to be so well put together, and it has got a lot of great funk tracks on it. I mean, those who don't know Michael Gabriel, he is the guitarist for Sheila E., but he's also, and you know, we don't talk about this but too much, but he's also the godson of Prince and Sheila E., because his dad is Gilbert Davison, who was Prince's tour manager, and he was the director of Paisley Park, and he had like a laundry list of titles for all the many years that he worked with Prince. And I mean, yeah, if you look at his resume of just his familia, it's like you got a lot to live up to. And I think what ended up happening with this Genesis album is that he proved that he's not only an amazingly accomplished multi-instrumentalist producer, and he can also sing his butt off and easy on the eyes.
And eats custard.
And likes custard. But he also managed to actually put out an incredibly funky album. And
it really was.
You know, it's got a lot of grooving R&B stuff, and there are some rock flavors in there. But you know, throughout the whole entire album, there's still this standard line of funk that runs through the entirety of it. And
absolutely,
we'll have links up. You can kind of go to the album premiere where he actually talks about each individual song on the album, about the history and whatever. But this is a little clip from that album. It is called Celebrate. This is for Michael Gabriel's for his album Genesis. Here's the track.
Look, so cinematic, we be beaming down to your stations. You hear that? A thunderclap, finger snap, put us all in ignition. Do what you can, gonna shake off all your inhibitions. Yeah, cause we're on a mission. To celebrate.
Yeah.
July, oh, I could kiss you. Celebrate until we die. Don't you rush it now, no, that will be a sin.
Yep.
lock it in real tight, cause we
That's,
made you get it in. Let's go.
The song is called Celebrate.
Rose from the debris.
Yeah, that song is called Celebrate. It's off of Michael Gabriel's album Genesis, here on the Best Funk Albums of 2022 list. I should have already said this for those of you who just joined us. We are going through the albums that are the best funk albums, in my opinion, that were released in the year 2022. Now that the year is over and we were able to, compile the list. Man, this is such an arduous task. This list took me weeks to put together, not only to put together, but to, it's just, this is worse than Prince-giving. This is like such it just takes so long to do it. But anyways, such a great album. I'm glad this is on the list. Michael Gabriel's Genesis is on this album. So let's go to the next on this list. Let's go to the next album on the list, which is Apollyon from the album from the artist Turquoise. And we've had Turquoise on the show before, but I kind of got to preface this with a little bit of a sad story, but I've been in many bands before, and Jeff Page, I know you have also, where you start to get a little bit of a following, and then a band member wants to step out, and then you just call it quits, and it kind of sucks because you leave all these people in the lurch and whatever. But Turquoise has been together for a long time. Now what were we going to say? I'm sorry.
I said it does suck. That's it.
I suck at the suck. Yeah, so they've been at it for about a decade now, and they've got a lot of attention from the funk and jam band communities. And but multiple members decided that they're just done. And a couple of them for family reasons and whatever else. But they did one final farewell gift to their fans in the form of 2 albums that they dropped at the same time. Apollyon, which is the one that we're going to talk about here, and another one called Paradiso. Apollyon was the more funk of the 2 albums, but it was just a clear winner on all sides. But because it was, and I think one of the reasons why is because it was recorded live with all 9 members in the same room. And that kind of tends to be a little bit of a rarity, just because you got a lot of bleed through with mics and stuff. But they also did they recorded it using a lot of old equipment, using to kind of get that 70s funk sound with the spring reverb and the tube amps and whatnot. But their album also features guest appearances from Jerry Harrison, who many of you might know from Talking Heads, and Adrian Belew, also from Talking Heads. But Adrian Belew has also worked with 9 Inch Nails and David Bowie as well. It's sad that this is the last of Turquoise's albums, but they did drop these 2 really, really great albums, and it's kind of sad to see them go. But all that being said, let's play a 45-second clip from this album Apollyon from Turquoise. The song is called Knock Knock, and here is a taste of that.
I hear a knock knock. Who's knocking on my door? I hear a tick tock. That clock on the wall.
I love that. Come on.
Give me that beep beep. Car parked right outside. Don't give me that cheep cheep. Don't want it if it don't excite.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a little clip from the album Apollyon, APOL. How do I even spell it now?
Yeah.
Apollyon.
OLL.
Yeah, APOLLYON, Apollyon, and the album is from the band Turquoise, and it's their last 2 albums. They have 2 albums, but that was a clip called Knock Knock from them. So that was another one. Definitely worth checking out. Really, really cool band. They had really, really different sound. There's just the other lead vocalist, who's a guy singer. I don't remember his name right off the top of my head.
But it's good. It's really good. I liked it.
Yeah, it's just solid.
Different.
Solid funk.
Yeah, it is. It stays there. True.
Yeah.
All the way.
And that brings us to the next album on our best funk albums for 2022, which is a artist by the name of Kazzey, Kazzey, and he released an album called Voyage 1. And a little bit about Kazzey. I'm not even sure how this release even ended up in my hands. I think it may have been sent to me, or it may have been a Spotify rabbit hole. I'm not sure. but it's the first time that he's ended up on this list. He's an electro funk artist, is how he kind of talks, and he's from France. But I'm kind of glad he did. And one thing I find interesting about French artist is that France is really into funk. I mean, there is a lot of funk artists in France, like a lot. And I think that's great. But I just don't know why we don't hear more about him. I don't know. But anyways, if you like bands like Chromeo and Mofak, Kazi is going to be right on the list. And this is this is the first time on his list, but he has a couple of guests on there that may be familiar names if you follow Funkatopia's previous Best Funk list. XL Middleton's on this album, and Mofak, which I just mentioned, is also on this list. And this is actually his third release. I really can't wait to hear more material from this guy. But again,
absolutely.
It's Kazzey. And this is actually a track called, and I got to switch over to here. This is a track called Serious. Yes. And I had to switch pads. Here we go, Kazzey. Little talk box action there.
They not hearing what we got to say. Look at me upgrade. They think we wanna play, but we so serious. So what you trying to say? Speak
Man.
you wanna play. So serious. Who you got to know that? You got to
Just
know that.
so strong.
You got to know that.
You make the funk face. Yeah.
I know. It's like,
You got to know that. You got to know that. That we so serious.
yeah. So that was, I was just holding my breath the whole time. That was Serious by Kazzey off of his album Voyage 1 that's on this. Now, let me tell you, okay, even if you haven't heard this artist, you have to be going, God dang, I can't believe there was so much funk music that was out there last year. And there was.
It really
and
was.
Here's what I got to promise you. I got to promise you that I'm going to be more hardcore about doing more reviews of these types of albums during the year so that you guys, because some of these albums were released like in January and February of 2022 and you never heard of them. It's just not there. So I'm going to do a much better job at trying. And I think I promised this last year too. But I'm going to do my best to try to commit to, that'll be my New Year's resolution, to commit to doing more reviews of these funk albums that get dropped. And it's just incredible. I mean, some of these.
And we start very reason to do that. Maybe what we'll do is we'll get back and start pulling those episodes and creating more as we go. Because this was just dirty. This one,
it's just Kazzey it's just dirty. I mean, there's so many talented artists out there. All right, let's put on the list.
All right.
All right, next one on the list is 13, and the album is called Thirtdelic, even though it doesn't say 13 anywhere on there. Now, I don't know if you guys are aware, but if you've been to see George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic, you get to witness, if you've seen them in the past 5 years, you're getting to see the handing of the baton from George Clinton to his kids and grandkids and whatnot. And there's a couple of them that are on this list, and this is not his grandkids, but they call themselves they're a Parliament family, but they refer themselves as 3GP, which is acronym for Third Generation Parliament. And again, it's just a group of funk artists that are, the progeny of Parliament Funkadelic members. It includes Garrett Scheider, again, good friend of the show, Garrett Scheider, who's the son of P-Funk legend Gary Scheider, Trezay Clinton, who is George Clinton's grandson, Tanisha Nelson, who's the granddaughter of George Clinton. And there's like just a bunch of them, a bunch of their kids that just are continuing the legacy of funk in the Parliament funk style. And kind of like, Enema Squad it's part of the 3GP collective as well. But, here is another one, 13. And I don't know that 13 is part of the family, but he is really, really well connected to the family.
Right.
And he actually got 2 tracks into the hands of George Clinton. He just said, here's 2 tracks I'd like you to check out. And George heard him and loved him. He was like, oh my gosh, these are really, really great. And there's a song called Dog Forever on Parliament's last album, Shake the Gate, that 13 wrote. And so now George works with him quite a bit. And of course, there's a lot of guests that kind of float in and out of this album. And the album is called Third Delic. It's got plenty of Parliament vibes here, like the same type of vocal stylings that you would expect to hear on a Parliament Funkadelic album, where there's, it's kind of just really strange harmonies. And even the artwork itself is a throwback to the Funkadelic era. Absolutely. And it's just, it is what it is. But let me play a little bit of a 45-second clip from Third Delic. It is a track called Get Ready, and check this out.
You better get ready. Yeah. People, you better get ready. I'm going under. Girl, are you ready?
Very Funkadelic.
Very.
Wanna make you feel the pain. I want it all in your brain. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Give it to me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Give it here. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I just don't understand.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just wanna hear it. Yeah, yeah. Hear it quick. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's a little taste of Get Ready by 13's album Third Delic. Very, very Funkadelic. The whole album is kind of like that, where it's just that overblown, just everything's just piling up. You can see the weed smoke rising in the crowd.
Old school.
That old school. Come on. Yeah. It's just got that vibe. And it is very, very Funkadelic. And again, that's called Third Delic. I'm sure that's that's what it is. All right. So okay, let's go to the next album on here. And again, please remember this entire list with descriptions and a Spotify playlist will be posted on funkatopia.com after the broadcast. And if we do get kicked off of Facebook for any of these clips, please jump over to youtube.com/funkatopia. And I'm sure somebody will let me know via text or something that they've been kicked off. But Facebook is very, very particular about copyrighted music, but we're only playing little clips, but it doesn't even matter. You can play a 15-second clip and they'll kick you off. So just be ready to jump to youtube.com/funkatopia if we do get cut off. But I hope you guys are enjoying this, because this is, even going through these and playing these 45-second clips, it's like, man, it's just so much great freaking music that's out here. How am I missing all this?
Absolutely.
And it's just crazy. But anyways, all right. The next album on the list is another good friend of Funkatopia. And that's not why he's on this list. He's on this list because he's got some grown folk funk on here, and that is St. Paul Peterson, the man, the myth, the legend. His album Break On Free. And this one actually what floated on the list. I'm gonna be totally honest. It floated on the list, and then I kind of swapped it with another album, so it kind of went off the list, and then I brought it back on the list. And then so it kind of like went on and off, but it landed on the list. So it's here now. And the reason why is because there is about 35% of the album that's kind of not really funk, but there was let me just say, I have mad respect for the Peterson family. I mean, normally if you think about the Isleys or the Neville brothers or whatever, if you're born into that, into that lineage, your career path is pretty much set. You know what you're going to be doing. I had Ian Neville on the show many years ago, a few years ago, and I talked with him about what's it like being born into the Nevilles. I mean, he's like you pretty much as a kid, they pretty much put an instrument in your hand and you're like,
play it,
go, it's time to move. And
you don't need to walk, play.
you got to play for your cornbread.
Play. You want some?
You want some jambalaya? You play that guitar.
What you mean you're hungry? Play something.
But a lot of people are not familiar with Minnesota's Peterson family, and which St. Paul Peterson is, or just Paul Peterson. Saint was kind of added on to him by Prince. I'm sure. I don't think I ever got the full story of how Saint was added on to that, but I'm pretty sure that was a Prince thing, because he just kind of was like, I don't think your name's cool enough. We're going to do this to it. But Paul Peterson is part of the Peterson family. And, there's members of that Peterson family that have played with Dizzy Gillespie, Bob Dylan, Steve Miller, George Benson, David Sanborn, Michael Bolton. Man. And then, of course, this is St. Paul Peterson, his album, Break On Free. And everybody knows that he's played alongside Prince. He played the keyboards for the time in the movie Purple Rain because he was there for some reason. And he also fronted the 80s band, The Family, which we all know, from Screams of Passion and High Fashion. And of course, I'm not going to name every track on the Family album, but that's like a classic, cult classic, Purple album. But this is his latest album, Break On Free, and it is a masterclass in that old school grown folks funk, where it's not like, kind of like what we heard. It's a different face of funk where it's kind of more laid back. And it's just, the funk is there. It's definitely there, but it's more of like a, you can see your uncle doing the shuffle at the barbecue. Yeah. Well, listen, it's.
When I hear it, I still hear Bill Withers all over the place.
Right. Exactly.
I really do.
And when he dropped Something in the Water, which I thought was going to be a Prince cover, ended up not being a Prince cover. I was just like, oh, this is nice. And it's just that laid back funk groove, which is really, really prevalent on this Break On Free album. And, got to pay homage to Paul because he does these weekly Funk Fridays on his website, which I am now tuned in and subscribed to. So I now actually get alerts on them. But, he also plays frequently with Eric Leeds in the LP project as well. But anyways, this is his album Break On Free, which I'm putting on the best funk of 2022 list. It just made it in by the hair of his chinny chin chin. But this is a track called You Got to Love, and I'll play a little track of this.
Close all the doors, 'cause love opens more. You see, you will see. Time is a thief, so let me say there's some great things and good advice.
Grown folks.
You got to live, you got to learn.
Use that keyboard.
Yeah.
A keyboard snap.
You got to live, you got to learn, you got to love. People, I was gonna try to get underneath the skin.
Yeah, that's You Got to Love.
Divide and conquer.
It's You Got to Love on St. Paul Peterson's Break On Free album, which is on the best funk albums of 2022. It was on, it was off. It was on, it was off. But luckily, it stayed on.
Yeah, because it is a great album.
It is. It's a really, really good album. And I'm glad to have it here. And I think it definitely beat out the other ones that did not make it on the list. And it's just a great album. All right. Next album on the list is a band called Emric and the Wee Funky Band. And the album is called Celebration. That's like a really long one. But the guy's name is Emric Larson, and his nickname is Emrock, so it's Emrock Larson, and he's kind of been on the funk scene like on the other side of the pond for like a really, really long time. And he's from Sweden, and he's a self-proclaimed, and I'm using air quotes here, king of funk. It's a really funky album, so I don't know what I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the line over there in Sweden is, but maybe he is the king of funk over there. I don't know. That's really a hard title to keep here in the States.
Definitely.
But he used to front a band called the Stone Funkers, and he now fronts this band, Emric and the Wee Funky Band. And this is a new album called Celebration. And this is one of those albums that came out in February of 2022. And I read some article where he was putting the band together, and he didn't want to just put in band members that were just good at what they do. He also wanted to make sure that everybody that was there was really impassioned about funk, which really kind of got my attention. So it features his vocals, and he's also got a female singer named Joanna Jort, as well as some rapping from a gentleman named Gonzo Reyes on the opening Cashba track, not Casbah, but Cashba. And it's a really good, strong selection of funk tracks. And, if you had this album and you had your creative albums and you wanted to put it somewhere, you maybe put it somewhere in between your disco collection and Cameo. Right. Like it's going to be somewhere in that mix. And you and I agree that this is probably one of the strongest tracks on this album, which was a track called Larry. And we're going to play about 45 seconds of this one here. It is Emroc's song called Larry from his album Celebrate. Check this out. Yeah. I love that party vibe.
Yeah.
This is horns.
Good stuff. It really is.
Yeah, so that is Emrock and Emmerich and the Wee Funky Band. And again, that is their album Celebrate. And that little track that we just played was a song called Larry. Yeah, so that's another good one to check out. Man, these are just such great funk albums. It's just,
Really
it doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. All right, so let's go on to the next one, which is Trezay Clinton. Note the last name. Trezay Clinton, and the album is called Wild Child. Once again, it's the grandson of George Clinton, and he is part of that 3GP movement, that third generation parliament. And you know what I found interesting is that he's got a Facebook account, and he posts to it quite a bit. And you know, all the engagements are like in the single digits, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, that's weird.
I don't know that he's like not active on Facebook or whatever the scenario may be. I've tried to invite him on the show before, but he doesn't answer. He doesn't. It's like, I'd love to have you on the show. Just come check it out. I'd love to talk to you because I really need to know what it's like to be the grandson of George Clinton. And what I find interesting is that he's got photos up there of him and George just sitting there smoking a blunt together. And it's like, I can't even imagine sitting smoking a blunt with my kid, more or less. My grandson. Anyways, but Trezay's actually had 2 entries on this best funk album list because he does this thing where he kind of creates albums that are very thematic. In 2021, he had an album called Junibug, which was very funk parliament, very, very parliament. He really stays the course and kind of keeps the recipe that his grandfather created. And then in 2020, he also had Trey Zombipulation, which was another one that was, again, the whole thing was very, very parliament-esque. And he's frequently sharing the stage with George too. And he also even got to perform on Parliament's Medicaid Fraud Dog release. So in 2022, Trezay released 3 albums. There was this one, which is the one we're going to talk about here, which is Wild Child. But then he also had another one that was like more of a slow jam album. I can't remember the name of it. And another one that was kind of like a rap / trap music type of album. But this is the only one that kind of stayed the course with the whole parliament, you know, off kilter harmonies,
Right.
And just, you know, very Clinton-esque type things. But anyways, this is a little clip from this album, which again is called Wild Child, and the name of the track is called Elefunk. And here it is, a little taste of Trezay Clinton and what this sounds like.
That makes me move. You got the folk, baby, that keeps me on the one. Yeah. Of all the faces and all the places that I've been to, I've never met no one as funky as you. And the funk, what you got up in the trunk, make me wanna do the bump. Help me get over the hump. I said, hey, and the funk, what you got up in the trunk, make me wanna do the bump. Help me get over the hump. You got that trunk that makes me wanna.
He even sings like his grandfather.
He does. He sounds like him. It's very close.
He even has that same kind of chord progression that not supposed to make sense.
That's right. It makes
that's not supposed to work. Where you go off key. And somehow it sounds like okay.
It makes it work.
It's
really
Trezay Clinton, Wild Child. That little clip that we played was called Elefunk, and it was like the slower of the other tracks that are on here, but it's crazy. All right, so that was Trezay Clinton, and it is what it is. All right, next album, Corey Wong, Power Station. Yes. So Corey Wong, he's no stranger to Funkatopia's best album list. He was on here in 2021 with 2 albums. Last year he was on with Corey Wong and the Wong Notes, which is a killer funky album. And then he also had another album that he did at Paisley Park that was called the Paisley Park Session. And it was, he loves all things Prince, obviously. And he's always working with a variety of NPG members. And this just, Sonny T is always in and out of this project. And anyways, this new album is called Power Station, and it's got Victor Wooten on it. It's got Chromeo on it. It's got Mark Lidieri on it, Larry Carlton, Bela Fleck. I mean, it's ridiculous. Yeah. And it's very on the 80s pop side of the funk spectrum. So kind of very, very similar to what Paisley Park Session did in 2021, and the same style and vibe. Right. But if you love Corey Wong's YouTube jam sessions, many of you probably have no idea he even has these jam sessions, but he does. And you probably should check him out. It's really, if you like funk and you like to go down some rabbit holes, he's always got some really amazing guests that he gets to come in and sit in the studio with him and create, all types of music, and he's all over the map. And the clip that I'm going to play you is from a song called, and I have to know if I ever get him on the show, the song is called Direct Flight, and flight is spelled Flyte, which is the same way that Flight Time spelled their name. It can't be a coincidence. It just can't be. So anyways, here is a clip from the song Direct Flight, and check it out. Corey Wong. Very horny song. Congo's in there too. Yeah. Yeah. Man, so that was a clip called Direct Flight, Flyte, which I'm sure is a shout out to Flight Time. But Corey Wong, the name of the album is called Power Station. And if you are on YouTube or Facebook, Jeff Page is graciously sharing those links to those albums for you. So if you want to check them out on Amazon, or you want to check out their Bandcamp, whatever URL gives you kind of the purchasing power to buy the albums, you can go and check them out there, and you can hear more of the tracks. And again, once this is over, I will post the full post to funkatopia.com tonight, and you will be able to check it out there. And man, this has just been a night of just crazy funk. It's just
great funk though. Great funk though. Like, not just your head is bumping, you're making the faces, you're all ugly tonight. Everybody is ugly tonight.
It's like eating lemons.
Just nasty, ugly.
It's like, damn. It's like it's like a spoonful of country time. All right.
I don't care how cute you is, you ugly tonight.
Now the next one I was kind of a little torn on, not because it's not funky, but because the whole album is pretty much a grown folks funk album, but it's undeniable, like all the friggin' way through, and that is Morris Day's Last Call.
Yes.
Now let me just say, I know Morris has gotten a lot of, just mixed press on a bunch of different things. But one thing you cannot say about this album, and here's what's the most surprising about this album, is that of all the tracks on here, for somebody who did Gigolos Get Lonely Too and Don't Wait for me, I'm just a young man. Yeah. What makes you think that anyways, for somebody who was like, just did those slow jams so well, this album doesn't have any slow jams except for the very last track.
Right.
The very last title track, Last Call, is the only slow song on this. Everything else is upbeat, grown folk funk. I mean, and he's got everybody on this album. It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, he's got Snoop Dogg, E40, Flo Rida, Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top, Big Daddy Kane, Tech Nine. I mean, it's got 12 tracks on this album, and only one of them is a slow jam, and it's the last song, and which is just surprising to me. And of course, when he announced his retirement and said, not only am I retiring from touring and doing all this, which I'm glad you got an opportunity. We both got an opportunity to see him here in Atlanta, but you got more recently on New Year's Eve at Paisley Park
in his home,
Yeah, to get an opportunity to see him do his thing is just, you only got one more chance to do it. If you're going to go check him out, and you're going to check him out and see him live, you need to do it because he's retired. And I'm pretty sure Morris Day is not going to be retiring like George Clinton, where he says, "This is the last time I'm doing it," and then the next year he shows up in the tour. This is the last time I'm doing it, and then the next year it's not going to be like that. You get an opportunity to see him, go do it, because it's been a really, really tumultuous time for him. I'm just seeing everything that he's been going through, but he's retiring, and this is his last album, and it just serves as a perfect opportunity to obviously pay homage to him on this last album, which I happen to have an autographed copy of Last Call right here. Did you ever order this? Did you ever order this?
I did order it.
Did you get it?
Oh, I did not order that. No, I did not order it yet.
It was $12, and I think if Mesa, it was $12, which it's less than what you pay for a CD anyways, and it was signed, autographed by Morris Day.
I know.
I'll try to find that link if you guys did not get an opportunity to get it, but yeah. Anyways, here it is, Morris Day's Last Call. But I'm not going to play the only slow song on this because we're talking about the best funk albums of 2022. So I'm going to appropriately play a clip called "Stay Funkin'." Here it is for Morris Day's Last Call. Stay funkin'.
You wanna be like me, I got a third degree and funkin'. I know exactly what you want. That funk that makes the girl get so wild. Funk that makes the girl get so wild. Funk that makes the girls get so wild. Funk that makes the girls get so wild. Is a main system to make it feel the rhythm. They gon' damn near have conniptions. The funk that I'm gon' give them.
Why is this on the radio?
It makes no sense.
Makes sense.
Get your Prince on. Shake your ass to daddy song.
Yes, that's a clip from Stay Funkin'. And the album is strong. I mean, there's a lot of Morris haters out there. I mean, we know that they are. Of
course. Yeah. I mean,
it comes with the territory. I mean, but this album is very strong. It's got a lot of funk on it. Trust me, I could not put it on the list. It's a really good album.
Right.
And so it's definitely worth checking out. Morris Day's Last Call right here on the best funk albums of 2022. So we're just kind of just crunking through here. Don't have many more to go as far as this 20 albums we're going to talk about, but all right, let's go to the next one. The next one is called Strata with the number 4 so it's STR4TA, but the band is called Strata, and the album is called Stratosphere, FEAR. And this is also one of these bands I've never heard of before, so they're a newcomer here as well, but they definitely deserve a spot. It's a brainchild of a duo by Giles Peterson and Jean-Paul Monick, and they kind of started doing a jam session together, and it was a pre-pandemic recording session in London, and he ended up getting trapped there, and it ended up evolving into this project that was very much a nod to the 80s Brit funk movement, just like kind of, as I mentioned before, Brand New Heavies and that whole funk scene, the Brit funk scene that was going on in London in that time in the late 80s. And this is actually their sophomore album, and it really kind of does really good showcasing of some of the duo. And they have a lot of different people that are really big overseas. I'm going to ramble off some names here: Imogene Thackeray, Theo Croker, and Valerie Etienne. You don't know any of them, but I will tell you that they're very, very big overseas. And so they have some guest spots on here. And there's also the Brighton duo Anushka's on here, Peter Hines from Incognito, and neo soul godfather Omar Again, all these are London-based names. So unless you follow funk very, very closely, a lot of these names
You don't know.
You just don't know them. But speaking of Omar, the track that I'm going to play from Strata is a track called "Why Must You Fly," and this actually features Omar. But check it out. Here it is, Strata, right here on the Funkatopia radio show and the best funk albums of 2022. Here it is. Got a little instrumental action. That bass.
This is nice.
Get a little Jamiroquai action. Gotta love that London funk. But again, that is the same vein of like Brand New Heavies, where they were kind of just doing that jazz overload.
So jazzy. Yeah.
It's just, and the album is very similar to that, but there are also a lot of vocals out throughout the album. Again, in that 80s Brit funk vibe, like Brand New Heavies. If you like the Brand New Heavies, you're going to love this album. It's very, very similar. Again, the band is called Strata, but it's STR, the number 4 TA. But they kind of, I don't know why bands have started doing all that. Like Tech 9 puts the 9 in the middle of it. I don't know. It's just a thing that artists have started doing, and God bless you. Strata. And since we're in the instrumental vein here, let's go to the next album on the list, which is Bass Extremes, which is a project by the legendary Steve Bailey and Victor Wooten. Just shut up. The fact that these two guys shut the front door. Just the fact that these two guys are in this band together doesn't make any sense, because both are like bassist extraordinaires. So it's like having Steve Vai and Eddie Van Halen in the same band. It's like, what's happening here? Why are we, okay, this is going to be interesting. But, Victor Wooten started out very, very young because he was playing with his brothers alongside Curtis Mayfield and War and Mays. So he's like really old school, but he had his own notoriety because he's one of the founding members of Bela Fleck of the Flecktones. And for those not familiar with Steve Bailey, which, unless you kind of read credits and kind of pay attention, Steve Bailey is also a legend in his own right, because he's played with Dizzy Gillespie and the Rippingtons and Jethro Tull. Just, that's obviously more rock and roll, but he's kind of all over. But to kind of give you a little bit of credentials, he is the chair of the bass department at the Berklee College of Music.
Right.
Imagine the talent that you have just to get into Berklee College of Music and to be the chair of the bass department at Berklee College of Music. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, funk music at its core is like the drums and the bass pretty much kind of set it up. There are obviously, alternatives.
Yeah, you got your horns, you got your other stuff.
Yeah, there's other stuff in there too, but that is a really core part of a really strong funk recipe. But you put these two guys together, these two bass phenoms, onto one album, which they call their project Bass Extremes, and you add in their special guests, which include Marcus Miller, John Patitucci, Bela Fleck is in here, and of course you even got Bootsy Collins in the mix too. And it's just a funk jazz album. Now it does lean a little bit more towards jazz, but overall there is so much funk all throughout this album. You got to check this thing out. And again, it's called Bass Extremes, and the album is called Slow Down. It's capital S apostrophe capital L OW. So slow down, kind of like low down, but slow down. And I'm going to play a little track. I'm going to play a little track from I forgot to move the pads again, from this album. And it is called Home Bass, BASS, Home Bass. Let's check it out. Here it is, Bass Extremes. God dang. Ah, what the?
I just can't. I just can't do it. Too much bass funky.
Oh. Just okay.
Hold on.
Hold on. Oh my God. I can't take stomach.
It's the big one.
Wheezy. What's happening?
That's just
So the album is called Basic Streams, and again, it's Steve Bailey and Victor Wooten, and that's kind of a taste of like the head-splitting bass riffs on this freaking album that are just freaking ridiculous.
Say it with your chest.
It's just like, God, dang, what's happening? Anyways, Victor Wooten, who is a Funkatopian, by the way, he is, if you go to our Funkatopia Facebook page, Victor is always participating in conversations, and he's so I'm honored to have him on the list because that's just undeniable.
I think I'm gonna need a drink.
Like, oh, Lord. All right, so that's called Basic Streams, and the album is called Slow Down, S' low down. Definitely check it out. You put that Amazon link up there, didn't you?
What?
You
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, make sure you guys pick up that one. Okay,
You got to.
all right. So, all right, let's go on to the next one. God, Lord.
I need a cigarette.
All right, so let's go to the next one, which is a gentleman by the name of well, his name is called Steve Watkins, but he calls himself Swatkins, and he's kind of been at it for over a decade, and his specialty is talk box, and he's been funking up stuff for a very, very long time. He's always had tons of collaborations. He's always on a lot of albums, and he's got lots. He's one of those artists where you go to the Spotify page and it's mostly singles. And it's just, but now he actually has an LP that he has together. It's his debut LP. It's called Friends and Other Necessities. And if you may not be familiar with his name, again, he's one of the another guys that comes from that band called Scary Pockets. And Scary Pockets has been getting a lot of traction lately. You've kind of seen a lot of stuff on YouTube where they kind of cover a lot of songs, and they do like funk versions of songs that aren't really funk. And it's just, but this debut is kind of really very along the lines of like Zapp and Roger style talk box effects that he's perfected it. But the guest list on this album is also ridiculous, which includes Eric Krasno from Soul Live and Lettuce, Raquel Rodriguez, who you may know from Gwen Stefani's band and Anderson .Paak's album, Antoine Stanley from Cory Wong, which Power Station was on the list just a little bit earlier, and also Wolfpack. So if you're a big funk person, you've got a guest list of artists that you're pretty familiar with. But again, the end result of this debut LP is very funky, and it's definitely worth checking out. And the clip I'm going to play for you is a clip called Until I Get Back. Check this out. This is Swatkins.
I blink my eyes and everything changed. Up all night while my demons they surround me. Gotta get my conscience rearranged. I need reminding every once in a while. I'm riding. Come on, give me the keys. Never gonna just fall, turn this thing around.
It's Nolan style.
Yeah.
Hey,
Swampy.
180 degrees. Till I get back.
That's like theme music as you walk into a room song.
That's like
playing.
That's like jambalaya eating theme music.
Jambalaya eating theme music.
Give me an order of crawdads. And
He
pass
just
me
walking
the hot
in.
sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Swatkins' brand new debut LP. called Friends and Other Necessities. And the Friends part of this is his laundry list of guests that are on this album, which you definitely want to check that out as well. And guess what? We are at number 20. This is the 20th out. Now, I still have 5 more as a bonus for you that are actually, we'll talk about them in a second, but this is the last of the 20 right here. This is it. We made it.
We made it.
Made it. You haven't made it?
Again, in any order, not best to worst, just all great albums.
Yes, right. Absolutely. I mean, it's all great from beginning to end for sure.
Right. There it is.
All right. So this last one is a band by the name of Cam Gallagher and the Tasty Soul. And the album is called Funk Out. And this was an independent artist who reached out to me via email, and he was just like, hey, can you check out this album? And we kind of put it together and really want to, can you check it out? And here they are on the list. Cam Gallagher and the Tasty Soul. This is their first time with their debut album, Funk Out. And originally what their plan was is they were going to do this whole live concert of these songs that they kind of put together, and they were just going to record the whole thing and do a live jam session of a concert that they did in Salt Lake City. But again, apparently there was a bunch of technical difficulties, and so they just said, screw it, we'll just do all these songs in the studio. And here it is. And so here it is. And there's 7 songs on the album, and 5 of which feature vocals of a lady by the name of Sarah Hakes. And 6 of the songs are original tracks that are all written and composed by Cam Gallagher. But the final 7th track, which is the final track on the album, is a cover of the Tears for Fears song, Everybody Wants to Rule the World. And I guess from what I had read, he had heard Lettuce's version of that song, which is fantastic, by the way. And he was really inspired by it. So he kind of wanted to do his own version of it and kind of put his own spin. But this album is full of funky horn parts and jams. And it's just, again, it really feeds itself once again to that Brit funk vibe. And it's a pretty solid debut for a newcomer like this. And a couple of pictures that I saw, he actually performed shirtless. Like, what was that movie? With Lost Boys. Remember Lost Boys, that saxophone player that played with the shirt off. Anyways, so I don't know if he does that normally or whatever, but I saw a couple.
Maybe it just fell off. It was just so funny.
Or maybe it got ripped off. Maybe he was doing so well that they were tearing his clothes off while he was performing. I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen a saxophone player be attacked. I never have.
Well,
I just haven't. I mean, not in a.
You don't know enough sax players.
I'll talk to Eric. Anyways, here is a clip from Cam Gallagher. This is a song called Funky Stitches. And so let's play a little clip of this. Here we go. Funky Stitches from Cam Gallagher. This does not sound like debut stuff.
Right.
This is like sophomore, 3rd album. I think this is where his shirt gets ripped off.
Yeah.
That was a little clip from Cam Gallagher. That song was called Funky Stitches. And man, yeah, that's a debut album from that guy. Now, all right. So that brings us, that was the 20 best funk albums of 2022. But I have 5 bonuses for you. And these bonuses, there's a reason for these bonuses. So if an album was released that was a concert of previously released material, or something that was re-released and kind of repackaged, or for it was just like a soundtrack, maybe with various artists, for whatever the reasoning may be, they ended up in this section. And I think once I kind of go into it, you'll understand. And so here is the first bonus release for, this would be number 21, which is James Brown's Super Bad Live. Okay, so for those who don't know, and I didn't put this in the notes. This is just kind of my own stuff that my brain has cluttered up over the years. But I guess it was probably, I don't know the exact time. I would say 70, 71 when James Brown fired his whole band, and then Bootsy Collins and Catfish and his brother Catfish came in, and they just they sat in, and it was just like the whole period in 71 where it was just like, all right, screw y'all. I'll show you that I can do it with another band. That's kind of what it is. Now that's not what this is, even though the name Superbad may led you to believe that it's that era, because it's really not. This is kind of a collection of songs from a culmination of tracks from Atlanta and New York City concerts that happened between 1980 and 1983. That was a weird time for James Brown. That was like a really coked up, that was like a haze for James Brown, but it was, it's James Brown. He's the godfather of soul. I mean, he pretty much set the foundation for modern funk as we know it. It's just, even Bootsy Collins was like, James taught me the funk. He taught me about On the One, anyways, these Superbad concerts were legendary. I don't necessarily know that phase, the 80 to 83 phase, was more kind of legendary. I mean, you got an opportunity to see him. That was great. But that was also the period of time that Prince and Michael Jackson shared the stage with him at that New Year's Eve show. That video clip is all over the place where Prince falls off the stage or whatever. So there was that window, that really weird window of James. But this is a collection of those tracks from 80 to 83. But it's like a greatest hits collection across the board. I mean, it's got Try Me, it's got Hot Pants, it's Payback. I feel everything's on here. So obviously if you are a hardcore James Brown head, or JB head, or I don't even know what the super fans are called from James Brown, but you're going to want to pick this up on vinyl and add this to your collection. And the clip that I got, I don't think that the clip I got actually has James Brown singing, because I wanted to kind of showcase some of the other stuff that was going on. But this is a clip from the album. This is called Superbad Live. It was released this year, and I think it was November, of 2022. I'm sorry, I had to say this year, in 2022, November 2022. And here it is, the title track, Superbad, and here's a clip from that. Check this out. Shuffle.
Right.
Yeah. How can you not dance?
I mean,
Oh my
I just
God.
see the call outs, man.
Oh my God. It's just, yeah. I mean, I was going to put, James Brown, but it's anyways, it is a collection of tracks from this, and you got to get this on vinyl. If you're a JB head, you just got to get it. It's James Brown. It's a live concert that's not been released. So definitely check this out. All right. We got a few more, and that's it. Then we're going to call it a night. Actually, we had a couple more things I want to talk about, but that's about it. But as far as this best funk albums of 2022, we're getting to the end here. We got 4 more to go. And here's number 4, Take Me to the River, New Orleans. So if you like your funk with the Neville Isley flair, with the swamp shuffle, this is a bunch of various artists on this album. Again, it's called Take Me to the River, New Orleans. It's a soundtrack that's actually a documentary that did of life and music in New Orleans. And again, thankfully, they pulled together the soundtrack, and it's got a life all its own. It's got artists and performers that are, these are names that when I read them off, you go, oh yeah, they're from New Orleans, like Dr. John, Dumpster Funk, Dirty Dozen Brass Band, Galactic. I was surprised that Alan Toussaint wasn't on here, but there's like some that they're not here for whatever reason it may be. I mean, he could be sitting in as part of one of the projects, but I don't know. Anyways, it's 2 CDs of full of New Orleans crawdad grit funk swing, and it's got 26 songs on these 2 CDs, and it's just, they're not clips or segues. It's 26 full-blown friggin' jams. But it also goes all over the New Orleans sound. So it does traditional jazz, second line R&B, hip hop, soul, and even some rock and roll. But I mean, again, that core funk, that swamp funk is all through there, and you just got to bring your own hot sauce and hit it. But it is this little clip from that. It is called Stomping Ground, and here's a little taste of what you can experience on this soundtrack.
The birth of jazz and the voodoo queen.
Bass run.
Heart of Louisiana. Marie Laveau and Mojo Hannah. I grew up on the music of the streets. Second line rap and Indian beats. Whoa. That's where it's going down. Back on my stomping ground. Back on my stomping ground.
That's a little clip right there.
Yeah, there it is.
That's a long hair.
That is as Nolans as you can get.
That's Nolans as you can get. You know, that's like, Take Me to the River, New Orleans soundtrack. And if you like New Orleans music, that's a great soundtrack. It's on Spotify, as well as the Amazon links that we just put up. You can actually purchase them through. And just so we're clear, I don't know why websites started doing this, but whenever there is an affiliate link involved or something like that, I guess it's supposed to be some type of rule that you're supposed to say that's the case. So just know that if you're clicking on any Amazon links, yes, they are affiliate links. So if you do decide to purchase it, which I hope that you do, we may get like 10 cents or something like that. I don't know.
Right.
It's like something ridiculously low.
A nod.
Yeah, maybe it's like a nod. Yeah. So I can't even do a cup of coffee or anything, but just letting you know, just in all transparency. All right. Only 3 more to go, and that's it. Then we're done.
And again, these are the bonus tracks.
Yes, these are bonus. We've already gone through 20. Now we're going on to your 5 bonuses. We just did a couple of them. Here is number 3 of 5, which is Moniqua. I love this girl, man. I don't know why she's doesn't have more traction, but she's got such a really distinct voice. And she was actually on, she had a debut album called Los Robles in Washington that was on our Best Funk Albums of 2020. And she's on rotation on the Funked Up app. So you'll probably hear a lot of her songs, and you'll instantly recognize her voice. She's just got one of these really unique voice styles it's just refreshing and clean, and all of her music. I don't think I've heard any song that she's ever done that's not like deep in the funk. I just haven't. But this is a brand new album, and it's not really an album, but it's called On Repeat. It's an album, but it's a collection of 9 songs that she performed as a guest vocalist for other artists. And, most of these artists are not going to be familiar to you, but there's like Amadeo 85, Moonriders. And again, there's Mofac and XL Middleton again. But if you like Moniqua's style and her previous albums, you're going to want to do this, because this will kind of fill in the blank, because you're not following little things she does. So it's kind of a collection of songs that she's done with other artists that she's pulled together on her own collection. And this album is called On Repeat. And here is a little track of this. It's a song called I'm Not Saying Nothing. And here it is, Moniqua.
That way, I'm looking down on your knees. Don't even try to catch up. It ain't gonna do you no good. Oh, I'm slicker than your average. Get away like a bandit. And you never see me again.
Very climax.
Right.
They don't can't fight. Never gonna take it from me. I know. I told you. Ow. They want it. You might want it. So I'm not saying nothing. They always calling my phone. I just let it ring.
Yeah, so that's Moniqua.
That's it. That's something I would keep on repeat.
It's kind of like Climax meets Mary Jane Girls, but all of her stuff, I mean, even her own albums and the stuff that she does with other people, it's it's like it must be a prerequisite for her. It's like, yeah, I'll sing on it if it's funk. It's like
Right.
nothing she does is not funk. And I just love Moniqua. She's one of my favorite artists, and she is on my Spotify list. She's got a little heart next to her and everything. I love her. So check us out. It's called On Repeat, and this is a heart. I can't do it right. Anyways, yeah. So check her out. The album's called On Repeat. It's a collection of songs that she's done with other artists, and we only got 2 more to go. This one is a big one. All right, here we go. You know who this is. The one and only Junie Morrison. All right. So for those that don't know, for those who aren't like mired in funk like we are, this album is called Junie Live at Dooley's from 1975. And this is Junie Morrison. And for people who don't know who Junie Morrison is Walter Morrison. His nickname is Junie. He is a literal funk legend. I mean, he started his career in 1970 with the Ohio Players, and he was their producer, writer, keyboardist, and vocalist. So most of that funk stuff that was really just at the core, like FOP and things like that, that was Junie. And he ended up, I mean, he was on some of their biggest hits and albums too. And then he left in 1974 and he released his own solo albums. And then he became a member of Parliament Funkadelic in 1977. So the album title pretty much says it all. Junie Live at Dooley's 1975. It is what it is.
That's all you need to know.
That's it, right? It's a solo concert from 1975 when he was backed by the Schoon Boogie Band, which consisted of Don Payne, Earl Davis, Craig Moreland, Delbert Payne, Joe King, and it also had horns from Al Carey, Larry Hatchett, and Mike Robert. If you don't know those names, it's because you're not mired in the funk, but these are like old school funk heads. And it's a 54-minute concert, and it's a mixture of his solo work plus stuff on Ohio Players. He does do FOP on here. He also does this mixture of pain, pleasure, and ecstasy. And he also got the song Cookies Will Get You. Oh, Cookies Will Get You. And then he also does a cover of the Temptations' Standing on Shaky Ground, which is what we're going to play a clip of. But it also has a closing track of Granny's Funky Rolls Royce. So if there's going to be one album that you get on vinyl out of this, besides James Brown, if you're not really, that big into JB, if you really like the Ohio Players Liver of Funk, you need to get this on vinyl for sure. If it's available, but I don't even know. Yeah. Now, what's interesting about this clip that I'm about to play for Standing on Shaky Ground, everybody knows that that's a Temptation song. But what I find interesting is that that Standing on Shaky Ground by the Temptations came out in 1975, and this concert is from 1975. So either so when you think about the people that are at this show, most of the people there hadn't even heard this song yet, or maybe it was playing really heavily on the radio, because I don't know what the time frame was, but the fact that this concert and this song happened in the exact same year means that he went on stage and played a brand new song. Right. I don't know what the timeline is. But one of the things I find interesting is that, a lot of people don't know this about Standing on Shaky Ground. Even though it's a Temptation song, it was also co-written by Eddie Hazel, who was the guitarist for Parliament Funkadelic. Many people don't know that. So this song was written by Eddie Hazel. So most likely, because Junie was, he was tight with Parliament Funkadelic, but he wasn't a member of them until 77. But maybe him and Eddie, I don't know. I don't know what the story is, but it's so interesting that it was there. But anyways, let me play this clip. It's Junie Morrison doing Standing on Shaky Ground. Check it out.
Yeah. To ease a stressful situation. Standing on shaky ground. She put me down. Standing on shaky ground. Yeah, ever since you put me down, let me tell you, my car got repossessed this morning. Yeah,
definitely play it faster.
Haven't seen in years, 1970, 1971. Somebody threw me a lot of time. I'm out here drowning my own tears. I'm standing on shaky ground.
Yeah. There you go. That's a little clip of Standing on Shaky Ground, which is, I mean, you could feel the energy and that was happening there. Like most of the songs are a little bit more faster. Like I think Pop, which is, if you listen to Pop from Ohio Players, that song is it's Pop, Pop. But
right.
when he plays it, it's like Pop, Pop. It's like everything's
it goes.
set up because the energy is just so off kilter. But definitely check this out. Judy Morrison live at Dooley's 1975. I mean, he's a legend. Dude's a legend. Which brings us to the last entry. Last
of the bonus tracks.
Thank you. I didn't steal your thunder or whatever, but
I know you needed some help though.
I know. The last one here is by a gentleman that we obviously know, and he actually did a lot of work with Prince as well. Mono Neon. The album is called Mono Neon Farts Live in Memphis. So, we're very, very familiar with the fact that, he worked with Prince on those last days in 2015 and 16. And he actually had an album with Prince called Black is the New Black. And that album isn't yet to be released. But we know that it exists. And there were a few leaked tracks that came out from that. But it's still shrouded in secrecy in the Purple Vault. But for 2022, Mono Neon did release 3 albums. He had an album called There Goes That Man Again, Turning Water into Gin and Juice. That was one album. And the other one was called Put on Earth for You. And both of them clock in under 25 minutes, which was, it's kind of like,
yeah.
But it wasn't, and most of it wasn't funk. It was just that standard kooky, silly lyrics and, just that heavy experimentation and stuff that he does. And so it really didn't kind of fall in. But this Mono Neon Farts Live in Memphis is almost an hour-long live album from his concert in Memphis, Tennessee. And it's got a lot of the classic songs that a lot of people like from Mono Neon, from that weird strangeness that he does. Hot Cheetos, Women, Water, and Weed, and Life is a Glittery Fuckery, which is a hilarious song. That's probably one of my favorite songs. But again, it highlights his quirky playing style and there's just really bizarre lyrics. It is what it is. But here is a 45-second clip from that. And another thing that's interesting about this live album is that you don't hear the crowd much at all. Through the entire album. It's kind of like everything was recorded on the stage. I think there's a couple places where you can hear them, but it's not really heavily prevalent. But here it is. It's just a little snippet called Invisible from Mono Neon's album. Here it is. Got that. Here's the reason why. So here's your reason why they ended up on the best funk albums of 2022, which actually closes it out. So there are your top 20 albums of the best funk albums of 2022 and 5 bonuses. And that was the end of the 5 bonuses. So there you have it. That was your list. That was I think it was just amazing is that, again, the amount of music that was out there that you just don't know that's out there. And that is one of the reasons why, we spent the time that we did kind of, compiling this list and kind of putting this stuff together for you so that you can, make sure that you can hear this stuff, because there's some great music out there.
And all of this was released just last year. I mean, it was released in 2022. This is how much is coming out all the time. So, I mean, it's brilliant work. There's a lot of brilliant stuff.
I mean, plus the stuff that we didn't even cover that didn't make the list, like Orgone's album,
Right.
Lost Night, and the two Red Hot Chili Peppers albums, which just they were just kind of faded in and out of the funk. It was just not, there wasn't any consistency there, so they just didn't end up on the list. And I know that a lot of people are going to put them in the comments. And they're going to say, "Oh, I can't believe you didn't put Chili Peppers on here. That's just ridiculous." And blah 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 blah. And here's the thing, I also know there's a couple. Here's a couple bands that are not really funk. Well, one of them is. There's one band that the album finished and Spotify was taking me down this rabbit hole, and it played this track from this band I'd never heard of. It was a band called The Free Lab. And I was like, is this Bruno Mars? Is this because it sounded like a Bruno Mars song. I don't know. It just sounded like Bruno Mars. And then I was like, who is this band? I was like, oh, please don't tell me they released an album in 2022. And they did. They've only got a couple singles, and both singles were released recently. And this is a song. I'm going to play a clip. I want to play a couple clips for you, just some random clips. I only have two. It's Free Label, and the song is called On to the Next One. I don't have any diatribe with it other than what I just did. Here it is. On to the Next One by the Free Label. Check this out. Oh, no, I can't. Dang it. That wasn't the right one. Sorry. I forgot to change the pad. All right. Let me see. Now I'm going to have to talk for 45 seconds until that clip.
Psych.
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't know. Why can't you make a clip stop? That doesn't, I'm sure you can, but maybe I don't know how. Anyways, let me just wait a second. But so there's two clips I want to play you. One is the Free Label, On to the Next One, which sounds just like a Bruno Mars track. And then I also want to play you an artist that Van Hunt sent to me called Antonio Eyes, Eyez. And I'm not even going to tell you the name of who I think he sounds like, and we're going to get to the end of it. I'm not going to say who it sounds like, and I want you to tell me who it sounds like. All right, let me now that track is over, we're ready. Here is the Free Lab, On to the Next One, the one that I said sounds a lot like Bruno Mars. Check this out.
Got bottles in the booth, the women come free. There's no need to beg, baby, I got what you need. Forget about it now, baby, 'cause we gone. Forget about it, baby, come on. On to the next one.
I'm like,
wow,
this is like Bruno.
Yeah, like
so this will be a band that we watch in 2023, because I guess they're putting together an album and they're just kind of spitting out these singles, and so we're gonna have to watch the progression of these guys for sure.
absolutely. That's a great one. That's good sound.
Yeah, it's really good. All right, so now this is one that Van Hunt sent to me. He was like, check this guy out. Antonio Eyes, Eyez. Again, an artist that does not have an album, but he's throwing out these singles. None of them are really funk, but I'm not going to tell you who he sounds like exactly like to me.
Okay.
And I'm going to see if it matches up with, just to see if it happens. All right, check it out.
You're pushing my love a little bit too far. I don't think you know how bless you. And your friend anyway, tell you all she sees. Have you ever been trying to be close? That's the way you feel about mine. That's the way you feel about you.
And it's all of this. It is like the marrying. Let me see.
I don't know, man. I'm not.
It sounds like the merging of Van Hunt and D'Angelo.
There is a D'Angelo flair to it. He doesn't sound like him, but
yes. There you go. Kelly just said around the D'Angelo sound. Yeah, it's so. Yeah. You need to check this guy out. He is all over Bandcamp. I think it's whatever the Bandcamp addresses are. But Antonio, Antonio.
Wow.
Eyez. Antonio Eyes, and all of his clips are very, very similar. They're all structured that way, very kind of, the harmonies are very, very structured in a D'Angelo way. And again, one of the things I want to do is kind of commit myself to doing a lot more reviews of artists like this, because Funkatopia, I set out to do this in the beginning. The whole purpose of it was not just to support just funk, but also R&B, funk, and soul. And I want to kind of get more of that music out there and kind of really blend that in. And Greg Brown said Bilal. Yeah, I would say Bilal.
That's
okay. Audrey says that he was here in Atlanta at City Winery. Really? That sucks, because Van just sent it to me like 3 days ago, and I was like, dude,
wow,
that's
okay.
just,
All right, well,
I
have to
was,
look out again.
I'll check it out, and it was pretty dope. It's pretty freaking amazing. So I just want to check that out. So there you go. There are your clips of bands to check out. Again, I will be posting the full list of the best funk up to Funkatopia starting tonight. As soon as the broadcast is over, I will hit publish, and it'll be available on Funkatopia, and you can go down the list and you can play their Spotify playlist. You can click on the Amazon links and purchase their albums. You can also go to the artist websites, whatever it is, and check it out, man. It's amazing, amazing, amazing.
Good stuff.
And the last topic I had to talk about tonight was, we are very, very excited with 2023 with some of the amazing things that we know are coming from the estate and from Paisley Park, and some of the plans that they have. We've heard a lot of things that we know of a lot of things that are in the mix, and obviously the second that we're free to share anything, we will. But it is I'm really, really excited about it. But one of the things I want to make sure that we kind of pay attention to is really kind of not going too hardcore in supporting some of the stuff that's going necessarily. I don't know why I'm saying it like this.
You sound nervous.
I'm not nervous. I'm just trying to be very, very cautious and selective of my words, because I'm not trying to badmouth anybody. But iRecords, which has ran up against Paisley Park and the estate for releasing bootleg material. And that was Prince's biggest thing, was not sharing music. Sharing music was one thing. If I have a track that you haven't heard and I'm sharing it with you,
he's fine with
letting you hear it. I'm not sharing, like distributing, hey, send this out. But letting you hear it, that was one thing. And he even told me that. He said, that's not the problem. He said, bootleggers are the problem. The people who are recording it, who are pressing it, who are selling it and making money off of my work, that's a problem. And so I get that. As an artist, I get that. Because if I released a bunch of stuff, I mean, I record stuff all the time. You record stuff all the time. If you found out that somebody was taking your stuff and putting it on some album and pressing it and making vinyl and putting together packages and stuff and putting them online and selling it, and you're not even making any money, you'd be losing your shit. You'd be like, what is happening here? How is this possible? But one of the things that has become, I guess a little bit more problematic is that they're moving hardcore right now. These bootleggers are going all in. Some of these packages, remember a few weeks ago, we shared the Parade package, which everybody said, that's not Parade, Around the World in a Day. And they had a whole Around the World in a Day box set with all the vinyls and all the CDs and everything. Right. And we're like, that's fake. Come to find out, this is something that is being put together as a bootleg, it's being done that way. And there was a couple more things that popped up too. There was this that popped up, which is I guess it's the Prince piano and a microphone after parties and tours pressed onto purple vinyl that they're planning on creating a box set for, which is obviously going to be this is
It's a lot of work.
now
Right.
here's another thing too, is that, you got the estate, which is really one of the biggest money cash cows, or not cash, the most profitable thing that they probably are sitting on right now are these Prince piano and a microphone tours, especially the one that he did at Paisley Park, which is an immaculate recording, and the 2 final concerts in Atlanta. Those 2 recordings that they're sitting on, people are waiting with bated breath for.
Right.
And the fact that we obviously know that stuff is out. To hear it is one thing, but to put it in a package like this and then to sell it is totally another. And so that was one that I saw that's supposed to be coming out from iRecords. And then this is another one, which is a bootleg of that small club show. And they're doing a whole set with CD, booklets, vinyl, the whole thing. And this is a legendary, this is a legendary one as well. And, Kelly says, I see Kelly here saying most shows from piano and a microphone are already out. True, they are. You can find most of them on YouTube, but they're crappy quality. Even the best ones that I've heard, well, with the exception of the one from Paisley Park. The one from Paisley Park is fantastic because somehow that one actually got out, and that one is almost like that one's almost like, studio quality. But the other ones, like the Atlanta shows and stuff, are not, that are out there. There's no studio ones. There's no other ones that I'm aware of that are like a really, really great quality. And I think what kind of one of the reasons why I kind of wanted to bring this up, and is not to have you guys go out and buy this, because I don't. I have to side with the estate. I just
Absolutely.
And I have to say, it's very, very enticing to see these things and to get them, but you have to know that the quality of the recordings that you're getting from these things are not going to be the level of recordings, the level of quality, and the level of attention to detail that you would get from something that's an official release from the estate.
Exactly.
And so while these may be enticing, I think the primary reason why you bring this up, or why I'm bringing this up, I'm not going to throw you under the bus. One of the reasons why I'm bringing this up is because I think it's important that, the estate really, once they get full control of everything that, as it's supposed to be, that they actually spearhead a effort to really pump this stuff out. Right. Because if they came out of the gate and started doing this, starting releasing these small club, some of these legendary bootlegs that have been out there for decades, could you imagine, even though small club has been out there forever, could you imagine actually getting the soundboard recording, not a second or third or fourth generation thing that still sounds great, but a first direct from the soundboard recording, the actual soundboard recording, remastered and put out, and they hammer stuff out like this that even in small limited quantities, the will go nuts.
Right.
The buying public will go nuts, just like they did with the Hawaii box set that they did. They put that out in a limited quantity, and it was bang, was gone. Okay, great. Do it in limited quantity like that, so the collectors go crazy. And the profitability of doing things like that and just kind of hammering stuff out like that is already out there. Fine, it's already out there, but doing an official version of it, is just it would be gangbusters profitable for the estate. And I think it would also really kind of break down a lot of these walls that have been up for so long, and they would actually make money off of it. It sucks to watch other people make money off of, your efforts and Prince's efforts, when it could really be some serious.
And I think so. And I think that the point of all that is, if you can, I mean, you can, even if you can isn't even a fair statement, because you can hold your pennies. Like, honestly, people keep investing and spending money on these bootleggers, and that's why they're happening. And the real deal is stop. Like, I hate to say it like that, and I don't hate to say it like that. You know what I mean? Because there's some people say, well, but where else am I going to get? Well, things have been changing, and things are going to change, and you just gotta wait until it happens. Everything comes in time, and just know that from our Chris knows. I mean, the same thing. We've all been involved. Things are going to turn around, and things are going to change. And the est- the estate, they want to release these things. They know what we want. They're paying attention. And in fact, the biggest thing that the takeaway needs to be is you are the Prince Army, and we're helping to usher in this relationship between us and the estate. And it's going to happen as we become more patient and start understanding how and when they're going to do things. And they're going to be letting us know. So it will take some time, but I just think just spending the money on these bootlegs is the problem, because it's not the bootleggers. You can't blame the bootleggers, because they do it because people are still buying.
Yeah, and the other
So
thing that's problematic is as you kind of we didn't allude to, but I kind of alluded to earlier, is that 90% of the bootleg recordings out there are not really great recordings.
they're
There
not.
are some good recordings of some stuff that's out there. That small club, there are some pretty really decent recordings of that small club stuff that's out there. But
Right.
I'm just, the point of this is to tell you that the estate is starting to, you're gonna see some stuff. Let's put it this way. I know that everybody's been like, well, why don't they release this and why don't they release that? Well, there's a bunch of stuff that people want, but
Right.
they have to figure out what's going to be the most profitable, which obviously, we've kind of, a lot of that stuff has been tapped, but there's going to be some stuff coming, and they're going and they're going to be listening to you guys
Mhm.
a lot in
A lot.
a lot moving forward.
Yeah.
This we know, this we can't tell you. So, all that being said, just kind of, watch, make sure that you don't spend money on things that aren't going to be, great recordings. And just,
Right.
just pay attention to that stuff.
Right. It's at some point everything's going to be back in its place. The music will be back in Paisley Park, and things will be up and running, and they'll be doing events again, like regularly, concerts, and all these things are going to come. And that's a part of what the whole enlightenment thing is. It's sharing and letting people understand where we're going, and start saving those pennies. Stop wasting it on those other guys, and watch what starts to happen. That's
And
it.
you guys got to start saving your money anyways, because what's going to
That's
end up
right.
happening is we got June is coming up, is going to come up quick, which even though they haven't said anything about a celebration, you probably want to possibly be thinking about some
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, and I wanna be able to make the star party as well, so,
Uh,
you're gonna have to go there for Alfonso, and then you're gonna go back for, Paisley Park, and so, you're gonna start holding out.
yeah, you
So
guys
it's gonna be a lot.
start saving your money. Yeah, and
Yeah.
besides, a lot of that stuff, a lot of that bootleg stuff, it's very, very difficult to find. You either got to get it through another seller, and through eBay or whatever, and you're going to get ripped off, and it's just it's a whole thing. So, I've already been blocked. I I was actually blocked by one of
What?
the people on.
Bootleggers?
Yeah, they were just like, they no longer like me, because I guess I'm playing by the rules too much now.
Oh,
So I was like, yeah, but I still want to know what's going on. I still want to
right.
know I still want to know what you're doing. It's still interesting. It's still the content is still interesting to me. But they're
Yeah,
just like,
well,
they don't trust me now.
hey, that's probably better. You wanna be trusted by the actual artists,
Uh,
and
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for staying on this long night. Our first episode of 2023. We had to create a
Yeah.
new folder on Google Drive. It was very
Mm,
it was
well, here we are.
yeah. So it was a blast. Those are the best funk albums of 2022. I will tell you that within the next 15 minutes, you can go to funkatopia.com and you can see the list that we went through tonight and check out some of these albums and click and purchase some of them and listen to the entire albums, not just little clips, and have a good time. And hopefully I got you some playlist for your work week. I mean,
Hopefully.
there's so much stuff here too. It's incredible. And again, somebody, I want to at least commit to do at least one review a week of something, or at least one review every couple of weeks. It's a tough thing to get into because it's a lot of writing and it's a lot.
Once a month.
Not once a month. It's got to be.
Once every couple of weeks is good. I think that's a good idea.
It's got to be more active because it's just. I mean, it's just 26 posts. That's just a lot. So,
yeah, I think we can do that, and there's a lot. So yeah, we can do it.
Yeah, the first review is going to be on Fantastic Negritos.
Okay,
because you got to check that out. It's amazing. His new album is just ridiculous. So, and it's not funk, but it's still worthy of a review. So I'm gonna check it out. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. I hope you guys had a great time. I'm going to make absolute sure that I turn the radio station back on like I hadn't done previously, but it is what it is. I hope you guys had a fun time. Thank you so much. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Mr. Christopher signing off with my co-host, Jeff Page. Maybe we'll see you next week. We don't know yet. Good night, everyone.